official home of the Sixers, Flyers, Union, and the best Eagles talk in Philadelphia. 97.5 The Fanatic.
And a good Tuesday morning, Philadelphia. I'm Andrew Salchunas, the Midday Show right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. Hope you all had a wonderful New Year Eve. I hope you all had a wonderful New Year Day. I hope you all stayed safe, had fun, and you were able to forget a little bit about the Philadelphia Eagles. This team is dead. They broke me. I said after they lost to the Seahawks, this team looks like dead man walking. They had no energy on the field against the Seahawks. They couldn't keep Drew Lock from driving downfield 90 yards to win the game. After the game, it's nothing but nonsense from the players and Nick Sirianni, Jalen Hurts. The body language is terrible. They play the Giants. They're up 20-3 at halftime, and they come out, and freaking Olamide Zaccheaus runs into Boston Scott. They fumble, and before you know it, the Eagles win a one-score game, barely, against the New York Giants. And the same thing, terrible, terrible, terrible body language. And then you get this past weekend against the Arizona Cardinals. A team where there is absolutely zero excuse for you to lose to them. None. None. I know Kyler Murray's getting back, getting healthier. He's a decent quarterback. He is. They have no weapons on that team. They did not hide what they were going to do. Hand the ball off to James Conner, try to stop him. I know the dude's having an incredible season, averaging about 5 yards per carry this year. You know what? Good for the Arizona Cardinals. They have an identity on offense. Good for the Arizona Cardinals. They stick to their identity. They're a 4-win team. I'm not saying that identity works, but it worked in that game, and they kept pounding the football. And not one single player on the Eagles' defense had a day where you felt good about, except for Sidney Brown, because he caught the Brett Favre interception that Brian Dawkins caught. He basically caught a punt return because of miscommunication. Other than that, not a single good thing happened on defense for the Eagles. They couldn't get stops on third down. They didn't force a single punt to a terrible, terrible, terrible football team. Embarrassing. They should all be embarrassed. Every member of that Eagles defense should be embarrassed. And then you go to the offense. Yeah, they put up points. Congratulations. They put up 24 points because 7 of them was the pick 6 from Sidney Brown. 24 points against one of the worst defenses in the NFL. They should have put up 30 with ease. Obviously, they didn't have many chances in terms of time possession to score because the defense couldn't get a freaking stop. But on offense, once again, all right, first half was decent, and then the second half happens. And they revert to the same offense where it's predictable, there's zero creativity, and it's just straight up not good. Brian Johnson, I'm sorry, dude. You don't belong. You should not be an offensive coordinator in the NFL. Nick Sirianni, I know it's his game plan. It's 1st and 20. 1st and 20. And you're calling a quarterback design run that hasn't really worked all season long. You get a couple yards off it. It's now 2nd and long. And you do the exact same freaking thing. And now it's 3rd and 20 because you lost yards. And you run the stupid wide receiver bubble screen that we have been complaining about ad nauseum since week 1. It's worked like 3 times this year. Why do you keep going back to it? It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Get that out of your freaking head. It's unbelievable. It's Chip Kelly-esque, where they ran the same 3 plays over and over and over again, which is why he's no longer an NFL head coach. He caught the league by storm in year 1. Congrats. It went downhill after that. Don't forget he had a stint in San Francisco where they won 2 games before he got fired. It's unbelievable how this offense continues to look terrible week in and week out with Jalen Hurts as a starting quarterback, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith with wide receivers, Dallas Goedert as your tight end, a good back in DeAndre Swift, one of the top offensive lines in the NFL. There's no excuses. They have some of the most talent across the board offensively, across the entire NFL. Think about it. Go back to the stuff we were saying before the season started. Wow, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, best wide receiver tandem in the NFL. The only guys that really rival that is Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle with the Dolphins. Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk with the 49ers. Well, you know what? They get those guys involved. Tyreek Hill doesn't have bad weeks. Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel don't have bad weeks. Because you know why? Those offensive game plans are creative. We don't motion just to motion. Ah, cool, Nick. Good for you. Those teams do. They have it as a part of their offense. It works. It keeps defenses on their toes. They don't know what to expect. They don't run the same 6 routes every single game. I'm astonished about how bad this offense is. And don't give me they put up 24 points. The defense was the problem. Yeah, the defense sucked. The defense sucked. You know why? The personnel sucks. That's why the defense sucked. The personnel is terrible. They lost 5 starters during the offseason. Howie Roseman tried using duct tape to fix it, and it's not working. So I know the defense is a problem. That's why I don't waste my energy half the time. I waste my energy talking about this offense that I keep on thinking will get right at some point, and they never do, and that's the craziest thing to me. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. You know how we talk about the 10-1 start? How real was that 10-1 start? You know what it is real? What is real is the talent. They are talented players. Jalen Hurts doesn't all of a sudden suck. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith don't all of a sudden suck. It's the positions that they are put in every single week. It's terrible. And then I have to sit here and listen to Nick Sirianni after every game say, it starts with me. And I know it's the Andy Reid thing, right? Like, you got to do a better job. It starts with me. Look, I don't make much of press conferences. But when he keeps on saying, yeah, we got to find ways to fix it. Are you out of answers? I really don't think you should be out of answers. I really don't. You have too much talent on this team. A.J. Brown, I'm so glad that narrative of, he's screw the media. Yeah, A.J. hates the media. No, he's straight up said it's not about the media. You know what it is about? He realizes this offensive game plan is abysmal. How do you not get that dude involved more? 5 targets. A.J. Brown broke Calvin Johnson's record. Calvin Johnson, all right, Megatron. He broke Calvin Johnson's record of consecutive games with 125-plus yards in a game. Broke a record. This isn't Travis Fulgham, right, grabbing the league by storm a couple of years ago. No. This is A.J. Brown, an accomplished wide receiver who was tremendous with Tennessee. Would have been better had he had a real quarterback. Comes here, was amazing last year, was amazing for the first half of this season. He doesn't all of a sudden stink. No. The game plan is just predictable. That's why you had anonymous sources going to Derek Gunn a few weeks ago. It's unbelievable that I keep on hearing we got to find the answers. Whatever the answer is, it's not the game plan that you put out every single week. It's the same game plan. It's the same routes. It's the same read option. It's A.J. Brown down the sideline. Devontae Smith, try to find him in open space if they ever throw over the middle. Dallas Goedert slips out. It's the same plays. I've been pointing this out since the Commanders game. They put up 38 points, and I said that was the most boring 38-point performance I've seen in my life because it's the same freaking routes every single time. And I watched that again unfold on Sunday against the Cardinals. Yeah, the defense sucks. It's terrible. They don't allow they can't force a single punt. They can't make tackles. You know why? Because the personnel is not good. It's not because of Sean Desai. It's not because of Matt Patricia. The personnel is just not good. I don't care who's calling. I don't care if Buddy Ryan came up from his grave and called the defense, the plays for the defense. Jim Johnson. It doesn't matter. The personnel is just not good. You have to win games because of the offense. And they just don't do it. And they haven't been. There's a reason why they've lost 4 out of their last 5 games. Shame on me for trying to find the good out of the game against the Giants. Oh, Jalen Hurts looked better. They did some different things. Shame on me. Shame on me also for getting excited for a Kenneth Gainwell fake tush-push pass, right? I go, all right, look, one of my things going into the Cardinals game was just find a way to have some fun. And I know that sounds so childish. That sounds so trophy society. Everybody gets a trophy. Just go out there and have fun. No, seriously, look at how miserable they all look. So I was hoping they could come up with some things to maybe bring some life back to this team. No, they've been dead since San Francisco. The San Francisco 49ers walked in here, literally walked through you before the game started, walked through you. You showed no emotion. You showed no fight. And that translated into the game where you allow 6 straight touchdown drives. You do nothing yourself offensively except for getting into the red zone the first 2 drives, and you bleep the bed then. And you only get 2 field goals. And since then, you've been dead. We tried making up excuses. 10 days rest for the opposing team. Eagles going through the gauntlet. Oh, if I said that they'd be 10-4, yeah. We talked about all that kind of stuff. You're seeing what this team truly is. And it's a team that's dead. I would love to hear from you all show today, 610-632-0975. I know that it's 2 days removed, but I was off yesterday. So today is basically the day after show for me, where I get a lot off my chest. A lot off my chest. You're going to hear from Nick Sirianni coming up next because he's going to talk about expectations and how the standard or the expectations may be weighing on them. Screw that, dude. You guys have been in a mess for 5 weeks. Expectations. Nobody's talking about you as a Super Bowl team anymore, bro. I'll be completely honest with you. We're talking about a team that might not even win a first-round game, and you're just fortunate enough that you're going to be playing the NFC South. That's the best thing the Eagles have going for them. That's the best thing the Eagles have going for them. Other than that, we're not talking Super Bowl. There's no expectation talk. You guys got pants by the 49ers, and it's been downhill ever since. Dead man walking this team. And it's embarrassing. They should all be embarrassed. Sirianni, Brian Johnson, the players, offense, defense. I don't care what side of the ball. Just another terrible, terrible game. Talk about it more next. 610-632-0975. Manager Sal Tunis, the Midday Show right here, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Happy New Year. Everybody lost. I'm Ray Dunn. This update is brought to you by Bradford White Water Heaters. When you need a new water heater, choose one that is built to be the best. Choose Bradford White. The Eagles collapsed against the Cardinals on Sunday. Birds squandered a 15-point halftime lead and surrendered 29 second-half points in a 35-31 loss to the Cardinals on Sunday. Cardinals ran for 221 yards, gained 449 yards on offense, and held the ball for nearly 40 minutes of game time. Eagles become the first team in NFL history to start 10-1 and lose 4 of their next 5 games. Now, they sit in 5th place in the NFC, and Dallas can win the NFC East with a win on Sunday against the Commanders. Jeff McClain will join the show to talk about this mess of a team and mess of a season at 11:30. 76ers also lost over the weekend. This team just can't figure out the Chicago Bulls of all teams, falling 105-92 on Saturday night. Since the start of December, the Sixers have lost just 4 games. 2 of them have been to the Bulls. Tonight, the Sixers host the Bulls at 7. Catch the live call right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. The Flyers fell to the Flames 4-3 on Sunday night, their 4th loss in 5 games. The West Coast swing for them ends in Edmonton tonight against the Oilers. That's at 9 o'clock. Catch that game on WMMR. This update's also brought to you by AAA Car Care. Save $120 on select sets of 4 Cooper tires now through January 16th only at AAA Car Care Centers. Details at AAA.com/mycar. Keep it locked here for the latest news and information. I'm Ray Dunn for 97.5 The Fanatic.
The Philadelphia 76ers play here. Every game home and away. We'll have the play-by-play tonight. Presented by Corona, official partner of the 76ers, the Phila Cerveza. This is the exclusive home for Sixers basketball. 97.5 The Fanatic.
Hey, it's Jen Scordo. The NFL regular season is wrapping up, but there's still time to get in on all the action with FanDuel in partnership with Valley Forge, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $150 in bonus bets, win or lose for $5. The app is so easy to use, and there are so many different ways to bet, like live same-game parlays, or you can find bets in the new Explore tab. Try to make a parlay in the Parlay Hub, the best way to find popular parlays, and so much more. Pick your favorite team to win on the spread. Pick a wide receiver to go over on receiving yards, on your favorite tight end to score first, and maybe a quarterback to score an anytime touchdown. It can all happen in that Parlay Hub. So visit FanDuel.com/Scordo. That's FanDuel.com/Scordo and make your first bet a touchdown. FanDuel, the official partner of the NFL.
21 plus and present PA. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This winter, cozy up to a home that's perfectly yours with Preferred Pros. From skilled craftsmen and expert designers to top veterinarians and relaxing pools and spas, we've got the best recommendations for you. Let us help you make your dream project a reality. Your home, your life, our professionals. Connect with Preferred Pros you can trust.
Gerhardt's Appliances. At Gerhardt's Appliances, you can design your dream kitchen on any budget. Shop local and save big at Gerhardt's.
Volpe Enterprises. Say goodbye to roof leaks and hello to peace of mind. Call Volpe Enterprises now at 1-855-GO-VOLPE.
Got junk and want it gone? Then you want J-Dog Junk Removal and Hauling. Veteran and military family owned and operated and ready to serve you. Visit J-Dog Junk Removal, RDSC.com.
Check out Preferred Pros today. This paid program is sponsored by businesses highly rated by actual customers. For more details on Preferred Pros, visit 97.5thefanatic.com.
Patrick was way behind on his IRS taxes.
I was in way over my head. The total amount ended up being somewhere just over $30,000. $30,000.
Then the IRS came to collect.
Started getting letter after letter. A lien had been filed against me. They were going to basically hang me completely out to dry.
He had to do something.
That's when I reached out to Optima Tax Relief.
Patrick's life quickly got a lot easier.
It was very easy, pretty much hands off. They picked up the ball and ran with it.
And how'd it go?
I couldn't believe it. I had to ask 2 or 3 times. I saved an incredible amount of money.
How does Patrick feel about Optima?
Couldn't be happier. They definitely helped me. Optima Tax Relief, the best place to call. They're the best in the business.
Do what Patrick did and call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Denise has been playing jazz for 40 years. Last concert, one of the musicians fell sick with RSV. Respiratory syncytial virus, or RSV, is a highly contagious virus that can lead to breathing problems. This time, she's choosing to help protect herself with Pfizer's RSV vaccine, Abrysvo. Abrysvo is a vaccine for the prevention of lower respiratory tract disease caused by respiratory syncytial virus, RSV, in adults 60 years of age and older. Abrysvo is not for everyone and may not protect all who receive the vaccine. Don't get Abrysvo if you've had a severe allergic reaction to its ingredients. People with a weakened immune system may have a decreased response to Abrysvo. The most common side effects are tiredness, headache, pain at the injection site, and muscle pain. Ask your pharmacist or doctor about Pfizer's RSV vaccine, Abrysvo, respiratory syncytial virus vaccine. For full prescribing information, please call 1-844-989-7284 or visit abrysvo.com. Brought to you by Pfizer.
I was afraid to cut the cord, but I'm so glad I did. I was paying way too much for cable. I wasn't finding the shows I wanted, and the prices kept going up. Thankfully, I discovered a new way to watch called Philo. I get to see all my favorite stuff in one spot, anytime I want, anywhere I want, for just $25 a month. Plus, Philo's got unlimited DVR, so I never have to miss anything. It really is the best deal in TV. Try it out for yourself. Go to philo.tv. That's philo.tv. And start your 7-day free trial now.
Progressive presents an ad from Mom.
Hello? Is it on? Oh, okay. Bundle your home and auto insurance with Progressive and get protection round the clock. Round the clock? Does this generation even understand what round the clock means? But I'm just saying, because don't come to me when they ask to do this over, because the kids won't get it.
Get round-the-clock protection when you bundle and save with Progressive. It's easier than getting your mom to make this radio ad. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Hold on, someone just slipped and fell on my neighbor's icy sidewalk. Hey, need some help?
Yeah.
Okay, you need to demand Rand.
What?
You know, Rand and Mike Spear, the accident lawyers, they've won over $750 million for their clients.
Oh, great. You think you could give me a hand?
What, go out in this cold? No, thank you.
If you need legal help, don't get left out in the cold. Call 1-800-90-LEGAL and demand Rand. Or start your claim online now at randspear.com. 1-800-90-LEGAL.
We do all we can to ensure our kids are happy, healthy, safe, and strong. Having high-quality, low-cost health insurance helps make that possible. With CHIP, your child can have medical, dental, eye care, and more for free or low cost. Whether you're self-employed, unemployed, or your employer benefits are just too expensive, CHIP is there for you to help your child be strong. CHIP Strong. Apply or renew today at 800-986-KIDS or go to chipcoverspakids.com.
Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars. What's up, everybody? This is Homegrown Coffee and Creations at Homegrown215 on Instagram. We're located at 1515 West Porter Street in South Philly, right at the intersection of 15th and Porter. We specialize in catering, tailgating, order online, pickup, delivery. Just please come out and see us. The grill closes at 2 o'clock and the shop closes at 4. We open at 7 o'clock during the week and 8 o'clock on the weekends. Please keep us in mind for all your catering events. And thank you for your business as always. And remember, don't let your tailgate be a failgate at Homegrown215.
Nothing brings families together like a world-famous tomato pie from Corpalese Bakery and Deli. 4 generations of pride go into everything on the Corpalese menu, including hand-carved deli meats and cheeses, freshly baked breads, rolls, cookies and pies, hoagies and party trays, specialty cakes and stromboli. Go back to a better time at Corpalese Bakery and Deli in Norristown, Audubon, and Limerick. Want to join the Corpalese family? Apply today at corpalesebakery.com.
Jim McManus plays on one station in Philly, 97.5 The Fanatic.
1022, 97.5 The Fanatic. I'm Andrew Salchunas. I'm miserable today. I have not gotten over it. I thought yesterday was going to be good for me. So yesterday was New Year's Day. And I had people over. So, we're starting a new little tradition. We did it last year. So this was the second annual Salchunas New Year's Day bash. Because I'm washed. I'm not making up till midnight anymore. The only reason why I wake up is because the neighbors feel the need to launch fireworks. I know I sound like old man yelling at cloud. I think fireworks are the most overrated thing in the world, and it's a waste of time and money. And I know people love doing it, at midnight and July 4th and all that kind of stuff. It's not for me. So I was woken up, but whatever. I digress. So we do the annual party. Now, on January 1st, I have the leftover beer from Christmas Day because we hosted Christmas, and it was nice. We all got together. And, of course, all the boys were talking about the Eagles, right? All angry about the Eagles. I thought I got enough off my chest yesterday that when I came in today behind the microphone that I'd be a little bit more relaxed. And then the music started. And then I had to talk about the Eagles because that's my job. And then I realized just how still pissed off I am about this game that I'm not over it yet. And nobody should be. Look, they were 10-1. And I know it was ugly. And I know they got by in a lot of games, but they got by against some pretty good teams, right? They got by the defending Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. The Buffalo Bills are one of the hottest teams in football right now. They beat the Dallas Cowboys before the bye. They beat the Miami Dolphins. The Philadelphia Eagles, even though they weren't pretty, beat some pretty good opponents. No matter how ugly the game was, they found ways to win. And to me, that was a good test of a good football team, finding ways to win. And then the San Francisco 49ers took everything out of them. Everything. Since then, anonymous sources, since then body language has been poor. Since then, there has been no answers from Nick Sirianni and Brian Johnson and Sean Desai, Matt Patricia, no matter who the play caller is defensively. They have not come up with a single answer. And it just seems like a mess right now. It's a mess in NovaCare because of those anonymous sources. It's also a mess because of the coaching staff. I read an article over the weekend, and I mentioned it during the pregame show, an article from Jeff McClain. that was, to me, fascinating, but also extremely annoying. That they had a team to try to find answers on third down. I don't know if you read this article, Ray. Good morning. How are you today?
Good morning.
So they found they had a third down team, right? You know, there's the analytics staff, there's the offensive staff. They had a third down defensive team where they tried figuring out, all right, what is it that we can do on third down to actually get off the field? Because if you remember, Sean Desai did say something that was correct. We are getting teams to third down. It's not like it's 1st and 10 and then it's 2nd and 1 and they get a first down the next play. No, they were getting teams to 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7, and then all hell broke loose. And so Sean Desai, think about how crazy this is, all right? Sean Desai lost the ability to make the play calls for third down. Lost the ability to game plan third downs. And I know everybody's saying, oh, well, they were terrible on third down. Well, you know, that's how it should be. He lost the ability to game plan for third downs after the first Cowboys game. Not the Chiefs game, not the Bills game, after the first Cowboys game. And so the team, the third down team comes together. And look at what happened since then. Oh, I'm sorry. No, he did it. He lost it after the Bills game because the Bills game was bad on third downs, right? Like, even though they beat the Chiefs and they beat the Bills, the third downs against the Bills, Josh Allen was just scrambling for his life, getting first downs or checking it down to James Cook, and it worked every single time. So he lost the ability after that game where Matt Patricia was now involved. Other members of the staff were involved. Nick Sirianni was involved. Think about what transpired after that. After that game against the Bills. The San Francisco 49ers just beat you up and down the field. Then you had the Seahawks game. Or the Cowboys game. Then you had the Seahawks game where third downs were still an issue with that team too, even though Matt Patricia is now calling plays. So they kind of made Sean Desai the scapegoat, it seems like, right? And that's why, again, I'm not really wasting much energy on the defense. The defense just straight up stinks. To me, the biggest issue of this team is the offense because they do have the personnel. Look at the money invested on that offense. Your franchise quarterback got paid handsomely. You're going to get Devontae Smith paid at some point. A.J. Brown is paid. The offensive line is paid. Dallas Goedert is paid. And they're also all very talented. But they can't come up with a freaking answer to actually make things go. And so then the conversation then turns to the vibe, right? How everyone's doing, how everyone's feeling. Tim McManus told us it was teetering a couple of weeks ago. Can you imagine what it is now? A.J. Brown declined to speak to the media again. Had nothing to do with the media. Had nothing to do with it. Even though I thought that headline of the Marcus Hayes story was just ridiculous. A.J. Brown's not the problem. But he wasn't doing this because of the media. No, he's frustrated with the offense. How can't you be? We should all agree with A.J. Brown that the offense stinks. But now we got to talk about expectations. Potentially being too heavy for the Eagles. Remember Bill Barnwell, that story on ESPN.com. We're the problem. The Eagles fans are the problem. Because of our expectations, we created a toxic environment for the Eagles. It's just stupid. But Tim McManus, who I brought up just a couple minutes ago about the locker room teetering, during the press conference yesterday, not post-game, but yesterday's press conference, he once again asked about kind of the vibe of the locker room to Nick Sirianni. And here's Sirianni's answer.
I think that's, expectations. And I think that always plays into it. This is what it's supposed to look like. This is what we know we're capable of. And that's not, that's our expectations of ourselves and knowing that we can continue to play better and coach better. And so I think that has been a little bit of it. I think, if obviously would have to spend some time thinking through that, but then my initial reaction is expectations. And like I said, we all have high expectations, the fans, us as the Eagles, the coaches, the players. And so it's just wanting to live up to the expectations.
What expectations? What expectations? Yeah, when the season started, we all said Super Bowl. When you were 10-1, we said Super Bowl. You've lost 4 out of your last 5, Nick. You can't fall back onto the, we're all tense because of expectations. Nobody's expecting anything out of you guys anymore. Nobody. There might be a couple of diehard, everything is good, don't worry, Eagles fans that are still saying they can still get back to the Super Bowl. Other than that, 5 or 10%, there's nobody saying that. And you mean to tell me the players still have those expectations? Because they don't. There's no way there's a single player in that locker room after that loss to the Cardinals that said, man, the reason why we lost is because we believe we're still a Super Bowl team. And it's just weighing on us. No. The San Francisco 49ers broke the Philadelphia Eagles. They quite literally walked in here and punked you. They walk in, they walk through your warm-ups. You do nothing about it. No energy, no emotion, no nothing. All right, you want to handle your business on the field? Fine. When they walked through you, I was like, okay, they're trying to take the high road, show it on the field. And that didn't work. And since then, nothing has worked. Nothing on offense, nothing on defense. This team is still and has been dead man walking. They're going to play the last week. They'll probably win. I don't know. I can't predict anything anymore in terms of victories. I can't say they're going to win against the Giants. Second half, they're going to be playing Tyrod Taylor, who actually was decent against the Eagles in the second half. They benched Tommy DeVito. They brought in probably the better quarterback, and the game changed. How am I supposed to believe that the Eagles are going to take care of business in the final week of the season? So you're going to be a wild card team because I imagine the Cowboys beat the Commanders. You're going to be a wild card team, and you're now playing on the road throughout the playoffs. Whether it's one round you lose, 2 rounds you lose, maybe you get to the NFC Championship game. Still on the road. They control their destiny. Yeah, they did. And they shot themselves in the foot multiple times. Both feet. They're barely getting through anymore. And there's not a single message that can be spoken to this team at this point to turn things around. There isn't. I got to hear about how close they are. I got to hear about how, it's up to us to get these guys together. They're doing player-only locker room meetings, which is great and all. But it's like the Trey Turner standing ovation. You can only do that once. Can't do it again. There's no more Trey Turner standing ovation this year to try to help him out. No. It helped him out for a little bit, and then he cost the Phillies the NLCS and a couple other players, but he was abysmal. There's only so many player-only meetings you can do. Only so many bullets in that chamber. And you used it up. There's no message left. Nothing. And there's just going to be more and more whispers. Don't go after Jeff McClain. Don't go after other members of the media that are reporting on stuff that's being said about others inside NovaCare. People are talking because people are frustrated. And people realize inside NovaCare that this team's dead. And I'm sorry if I'm being a little too harsh today. How do you have an ounce of confidence left in this team? There is none. They are dead man walking. Do I think they should blow it up after the season ends? No. They're going to have to make some tweaks. They obviously have to make the defense better. Can't have Tom, Dick, and Harry playing linebacker. No, you got to make changes. You got to make the team better. Obviously you need a new offensive coordinator because Brian Johnson just stinks. It's honestly moronic. It's so bad that people were making the jokes yesterday during the Michigan-Alabama game that Alabama loses because they do a quarterback draw on 4th and goal to close out the game. And everyone's making jokes about Brian Johnson. I hope Brian Johnson was watching that game and went, oh, wow, that's a pretty bad decision. Oh, wait, shoot, I do that every freaking week. Abysmal. Would love to hear from you, 610-632-0975. So get it off your chest Tuesday, right? Yesterday we had the talk stars. So we weren't necessarily just reacting to this game. I'm now reacting to this game. And this game I'm not going to get over it. I'm going to be pissed off all week long, and the Giants game's not going to help me. They win against the Giants. What am I going to do? I can't sit. I'm telling you right now, I'm sorry. The Eagles are a playoff team, right? Next week, I can't do rah-rah week. I can't do the whole, I'm going to ignore everything that's happened, and I'm just going to say, go Birds, EAGLES. I tried doing that on Friday. And I apologized to you all before the show started, or before I really got into it, that I was lying to you on Friday. I was going to do green-colored glasses and go Birds, and everything's beautiful. I did that last Friday. And look what it led to. Look what it led to. An embarrassing defeat to the Arizona Cardinals. We got outcoached by Jonathan Gannon. Jonathan Gannon outcoached Nick Sirianni. James Conner just said, all right, try to tackle me. The entire game was just like the perfect picture of what this Eagles team's become. Inability to make plays on defense. Inability to make plays on offense when it really matters. You're running a freaking bubble screen on 3rd and 20 after you ran 2 quarterback draws on 1st and 2nd and long. What are you doing? There's no response to that. Brian Johnson speaks today. We're going to carry it. I don't know which one speaks first. Patricia, Clay, Brian Johnson. But when Brian Johnson, because I can't hear from Matt Patricia. They stink, right? Like the defense just stinks. Matt Patricia's not going to tell you anything that's going to say, oh, wow, okay, I understand that. I understand how they're going to make things better. No, the defense just stinks. They're going to get gashed by one of the superior quarterbacks in the NFL come playoff time. It's just going to happen. I need to hear Brian Johnson try to explain those final 3 plays. I need him to give me an answer. 1st and 20, 2nd and whatever, 17, and you lose the yards anyway, and then 3rd and 20. And, we saw the way the defense was playing. Stop that. It hasn't worked all year. And you know what he is going to say? Well, it worked. Was it the 49ers game, the 3rd and 19, the Devontae Smith bubble screen? He's going to bring that up. Just like how earlier in the year, when they ran the 3rd and goal from like the 8 run to Kenneth Gainwell. Well, it worked earlier in the year. I don't care if it worked earlier in the year. No team's the same. And oh, by the way, if you keep on doing the same things you ran earlier in the year, predictability, they start to see this stuff. Hey, Ray, what's up?
Hey.
I hope you had a nice New Year Eve and New Year Day.
Just forgetting about the football team was nice for a little while. That was good because I'm not speaking in hyperbole here. They have ruined probably the first 9 months of our year.
Yeah,
in terms of Eagles discussion, Sunday set the dialogue for the rest of this year. Because this is a team that's not making a run. This is a team that, if they win a playoff game, you're not going to, this team won the first round.
They're going to beat the Saints or Bucks or Falcons. They're going to beat the winner of the NFC South. Awesome. And then, the only thing that I'll come out of that game is like, all right, maybe they showed some things during that game. And you're going,
nah.
All right, maybe, just maybe. But no, they're going to get steamrolled by whoever they play in the second round. Because you're now on the road.
You want the dark place thought?
Go ahead. Dallas?
Yeah.
Dallas going to end their season? Yeah, probably.
But not even that. They're going to, first time they get to a conference championship in how long?
Yeah,
it's going to be.
And it'll be beating the Eagles.
And we don't get the repeat AFC's champion. So this is all fun. All fun and games here today. This is great. I'm not going to be over that one for a while. I went and I did like the pressing forward thing where I really didn't listen to the commentary, but I just kept pushing forward for each play, watching it. I'm still as livid watching it a second time. I'm actually probably more upset watching it a second time because you watch it knowing the result and seeing, okay, can't stop him there, can't stop him there. James Conner just ran right through you.
Yeah, the whole game.
You had absolutely no response to that. To this entire defense, I know, you can't fix it, but it's going to be a bigger talking point for, again, the next 9 months because the next time that we're really going to be talking about fixing this thing is going to be how they do it leading into next season. The defensive line is the only part of this defense that they invested in. It has not gotten home. It has not created the pressure.
Well, now they're dropping Hassan Reddick back in coverage.
Well, it makes no sense.
Because they don't want to be too predictable. They're worried about the predictability of the defense.
And that's the most BS answer in the world about the predictability right there.
Of the defense, though, not the predictability of the offense. That has been clearly figured out over the last 5 weeks. No, they're worried about the predictability of the defense, so they're going to have their best pass rusher dropping back in coverage. It's stupid.
Patricia had mentioned they wanted to dictate what offenses would do to them. Yeah. Once they would put on the personnel where they got the 5-man front and just the one off-ball linebacker, that was the Cardinals saying, open season to throw the football. Because guess what? They're going to have to drop back Reddick or they're going to have to drop back somebody else on that defensive line. And it's the most cruel irony in the world that it's the Cardinals doing that because it's the Cardinals that nearly ended Reddick's career in the NFL because they tried to deploy him like that all those years where they tried to put him in coverage. But that aside, the defensive line aside, this is now a conversation about defensive philosophy and what they have to do going forward because this can't continue. The principles of what they've stood by, and really, it's on either side of the football. It's now time. I did the whole thing post-Sixers season where it was like man-in-the-mirror moment for Joel Embiid. It's man-in-the-mirror moment for Nick Sirianni and what he believes are the principles of a winning football team. Hey, it worked when you had all the talent in the world a season ago. You've paid the quarterback now. There are changes that will happen to your football team. Are you going to be able to do that? Are you going to be able to continue with these principles, continue with what you think about the football team? Or are you be stubborn enough to cost this team a chance to compete over a couple of years because you don't see the flaws of your ways right now?
Yeah, and I don't know how they don't see it. Like, miss me with the whole, maybe it's just the expectations are too high. And, we're beating ourselves up with the expectations.
That's also...
Dude, those expectations are dead. They're gone. There's no more expectations. And I feel bad, right? So Noah checks in on Twitter. He says, really disappointed in what I'm hearing out of you right now. Dude, what do you want to hear? So I went to his Twitter account, and he tweeted on January 1st, yo, Eagles fans, we're bleeping fine. Dude, and then I appreciate his next tweet. His next tweet was, take a hit of your vape or take a sip of your cup and relax. I agree there. You know, that helps sometimes. But I scroll back to a couple of his tweets on December 26th, right? So this is Noah, who's disappointed in what he's hearing on the show today because today's a day where I'm saying this team's done. He puts out a tweet on December 26th. We're 11-4. 49ers lost. Cowboys lost. We're in a good spot. I need a blowout win versus Arizona. No, you didn't get that. You didn't even get a win. So how can you be disappointed in what I'm saying today when you needed a blowout win against the Cardinals and they lost? They lost. I'm sorry. I'm glad that you're going to still go into Week 18 against the Giants all fired up. You're going to go into the playoffs all fired up. Look, football Friday before the playoff game, fine. I'll say screw it. Another week of Eagles football is better than no weeks of Eagles football. That's what I was saying 2 years ago. When they were 9-7, they made the run. They switched to the run-heavy offense, and they got to the playoffs. Another week of Eagles football is better than none. I don't care about draft picks. If you can make the playoffs with all those young players that they had, that would be great. But that's not the case this year. We had Super Bowl expectations. That's the other thing. Not just get to one more playoff game. We had Super Bowl expectations.
Which also, hey, I don't know, Nick, if you plan on being here for the long haul and plan on being a coach in the NFL for a long time at a successful level, this is the expectations that you need to go into every season with. You've already set, and I'm sorry to use this word, but it's the first one that comes to mind, your standard of what you guys are supposed to do as an organization. Yeah. That's what you are supposed to live up to, especially when you've got your quarterback and you have all the talent on this team that you do. It's not like, oh, wow, the weight of these expectations is so tough. No, this is the NFL, man. This is what it is. And this is what it's like to be the coach here, too. You can't be, I think the weight of expectations are hurting us.
Yeah, but he's not blaming the fans' expectations, even though he did mention the fans in that clip. He's also talking about themselves. Like, they have the standard. They hold themselves.
He has to manage that. That's
right.
His job to manage that. And there's been the talking point I saw on social media all following that game of what do you do? And that's a big piece of all this with him. Like, hey, if the offense is not creative, if the offense does not look like it is really giving you something of a game plan that is superior, all right, you're an offensive coach. What else have you done well for us? It was a player's coach, a coach that everyone seemed to gravitate towards, a coach that had the locker room in check.
That's dead.
But
right
for
now,
2 right there, right now.
Right now, it's dead. Look, I'm sorry to Noah and to any other Eagles fan that still believes, man. That's great. Keep on believing. Fight the good fight. I just can't lie to myself or lie to you. 10 o'clock hour brought to us by Window Nation. Take advantage of Window Nation's 50% off sale on all style windows. Plus, make no down payment with no payments and no interest for 12 full months. Call 866-90Nation or visit windownation.com. Get to your calls. Coming up next, 610-632-0975. Look, I would love to hear from the fans that are still believing. Like, I'm not going to yell at you, right? Like, Noah, if you want to call in, explain to me why you still feel good. Yeah, look, there's a lot of talent on this offense. I keep on pointing that out. And that's what pisses me off the most. That's why I barely pay attention to the defense anymore, because I know they stink. The offense is too much talent. And when it mattered most, they crapped the bed again. Jeff McClain joins the show at 11:30. Like I mentioned, the coordinators speak around 11:45 today. We'll air the Brian Johnson one because I need to hear what the hell that guy has to say. What kind of answers you have. Because whatever answers you've come up with so far, it ain't working. I'm Andrew Saltunis, the Midday Show right here, 97.5 The Fanatic. The NFL regular season, it's wrapping up, but there's still time to get in all of the action with FanDuel in partnership with Valley Forge, America's #1 sports book. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. It's $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. The app, super easy to use. There's so many different ways to bet, like same-game parlays. You can find bets in the new Explore tab. You can try to make a parlay in the Parlay Hub, the best way to find popular parlays and so much more. And you can do this. You can still do futures bets, even though there's only one game left in the regular season. You could still bet on the division winners. I mean, some of them, the odds are, it's not even worth it. But if you still think the Eagles, like you think the Commanders are going to upset the Cowboys, and the Eagles are going to, win on Sunday against the Giants, you could still bet the Eagles to win the division. You can also make bets for the playoffs. Futures bets are still a lot of fun to make. So visit FanDuel.com/Fanatic. That's FanDuel.com/Fanatic, and make your first bet a layup or a touchdown. FanDuel, the official partner of the NFL. You got to be 21 plus and present in PA. First is online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued is knowledgeable bonus bets that expires 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Fanatic Sports Update.
A weekend of losses. I'm Ray Dunn. This update is brought to you by Pennsylvania Health Insurance Exchange Marketplace. Get the lowest cost on high-quality health coverage now through Penny PA's Health Insurance Marketplace. You're worth protecting. Enroll by January 19th at penny.com. Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars. The Eagles collapsed against the Cardinals. The Birds squandered a 15-point halftime lead and surrendered 29 second-half points in a 35-31 loss to the Arizona Cardinals on Sunday. Cardinals ran for 221 yards, gained 449 yards of offense, and held the ball for nearly 40 minutes of game time. Eagles became the first team in NFL history to start 10-1 and then lose 4 of their next 5 games. Now they sit in 5th place in the NFC, and Dallas can win the NFC East with a win on Sunday against the Commanders. Jeff McClain will join the show coming up to talk all things Birds and all of this mess at 11:30. 76ers also lost over the weekend. This team can't figure out the Chicago Bulls, of all teams, falling 105-92 on Saturday night. Since the start of December, the Sixers have lost just 4 games. 2 of them have been to the Bulls. Tonight, the Sixers host the Bulls at 7. Catch a live call right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. Flyers fell to the Flames 4-3 on Sunday night. Their 4th loss in 5 games. The West Coast swing for them ends in Edmonton tonight against the Oilers at 9 o'clock. Catch that game on WMMR. Keep it locked here for all the latest news and information. I'm Ray Dunn, the home for the Sixers and Flyers, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Philadelphia Flyers hockey. The games are here.
Zadorov lost control. The Flyers have a break. Skating back in is Farabee. Farabee backhand forehand. He scores! Joel Farabee makes it 3-0 Flyers.
97.5 The Fanatic.
This week's Pro to Watch is brought to you by Bradford White. Bradford White water heaters are built to be the best. And I'm telling you, a Pro to Watch this week is a professional coach. Because check your bingo card. Did you have the Philadelphia Flyers being in playoff contention going into 2024? If you say yes, I'm telling you, I think you were lying. This team continues to impress and excite us all. Could the Flyers be the remedy for some of our winter blues? Well, start putting on your orange and black and find out for yourself.
For some jobs around the house, it's okay to do it yourself. For others, not so much. Like your water heater. Replacing a water heater should only be done by a plumbing professional who can provide a safe installation for you and your family. For a long-lasting, reliable water heater, ask your pro about Bradford White. How you heat your water matters, and Bradford White water heaters are built to be the best for years of dependable service. To learn more and find an installation pro near you, visit BradfordWhite.com.
In order for small businesses to thrive, they need to be smart, efficient, savvy, staying ahead of the market at every turn, finding ways to do more with less, and taking advantage of every opportunity that comes their way. That's why Comcast Business is introducing the Small Business Bonus. For a limited time, you can get up to a $1,000 prepaid card with a qualifying gig bundle when you switch to Comcast Business, the company with the largest, fastest, reliable network. Yep, you heard that right. 1,000 back. Something extra for your company. From the company that powers more businesses than anyone else. So if you're a small business owner, don't wait. Call or go online to learn about the $1,000 bonus today. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Ends 2/21/24. New customers with Gigabit Extra Internet, Security Edge, One Voice Mobility Line, and Connection Pro with 3-year agreement. Other restrictions apply. Call or go online for details.
Hey, it's John Kincaid, host of The John Kincaid Show and 3-time cancer survivor. I want to thank all of you who have joined me in supporting life-saving cancer research by donating at aacr.org/fanatic. And to our generous corporate partners, thank you for stepping up and supporting the AACR, the official charity of The John Kincaid Show.
Building managers trust Pumpman Philly to keep their wastewater pump systems ready for everything from pump clogs and failures to flooding from major storms. When your building's pumps go down, count on Pumpman Philly for pump troubleshooting, emergency repairs, maintenance, and replacement. Visit pumpmanphilly.com. For the hottest new and used cars in the Delaware Valley, visit David Auto Group in Glen Mills, PA. David has always been your dealer. You just didn't know it.
Donations to the American Association for Cancer Research from our listeners and corporate partners add up to big breakthroughs that benefit cancer patients worldwide. Why don't you join me and make a life-saving donation today at aacr.org/fanatic.
The smarter way to clean your floors. It's time to make the swap. Swiffer Power Mop.
Introducing the new Swiffer Power Mop, the all-in-one tool that gives you a mop and bucket clean in half the time. The solution's built right in, so no heavy bucket, and the pad has hundreds of scrubbing strips to get deep into grout. Don't mop harder, mop smarter.
Swiffer Power Mop. Swiffer Power Mop.
You're all set with your Medicare prescriptions, Mrs. Brown.
This is not just low-cost copays at Walgreens.
I can actually help you set up 90-day refills if you want.
This is having a partner you can trust. Get low-cost copays, 90-day refills, and delivery from your neighborhood Walgreens. This is being independent. Together. Walgreens.
Restrictions apply. For details, see walgreens.com/pharmacy.
Ew, gotta get rid of this old Backstreet Boys t-shirt.
Tell me why.
Because it stinks, boys.
Tell me why.
I've washed it so many times, but the odor won't come out.
Tell me why.
No, you tell me why I can't get rid of this odor.
Have you tried Downy Rinse and Refresh? It doesn't just cover up odors. It helps remove them.
Wow, it worked, guys.
Yeah.
Downy Rinse and Refresh removes more odor in one wash than the leading value detergent in 3 washes. Find it wherever you buy laundry products.
When something happens to your kitchen, you might say,
"This is ludicrous."
but that won't fix your home. That will only get you the rapper, Ludacris.
Having trouble? Don't panic. Don't be alarmed. You need to file a claim? Holla at State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
That's right. You can file a claim on the app or call us.
Thanks, Mr. Chris.
No matter how ludicrous the situation, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
State Farm, Bloomington, Illinois.
No matter what the weather, most of us need to get on the road every day and get going. So we need tires to depend on in any condition. No one understands that better than the dependable people at Mavis Discount Tire. At Mavis, we believe nothing builds more confidence while driving than having the right tires at the right price, so you can confidently handle the road ahead. Roll in for $200 off select sets of 4 Goodyear tires. Visit us at mavis.com.
Hold on, someone just slipped and fell on my neighbor's icy sidewalk. Hey, need some help?
Yeah.
Okay, you need to demand Rand.
What?
You know, Rand and Mike Spear, the accident lawyers, they've won over $750 million for their clients.
Great. You think you could give me a hand?
What, go out in this cold? No, thank you.
If you need legal help, don't get left out in the cold. Call 1-800-90-LEGAL and demand Rand. Or start your claim online now at randspear.com. 1-800-90-LEGAL.
WPEN Burlington, Philadelphia, a Beasley Media Group station. Official home of the Sixers, Flyers, Union, and the best Eagles talk in Philadelphia. 97.5 The Fanatic.
10:53, 97.5 The Fanatic. The coat came off during the break. The coat came off. If you've been watching on YouTube, I was wearing a coat the first 2 seconds. I'm heated. So the coat's off now. You know, ready to go to battle. If that means anything to you. Nope. I'm just pissed off. Like, I'm not going to get over this game at all. I'm not going to get over this team. I'm not going to get over Nick Sirianni. I'm not going to get over that final drive, not the Hail Mary one, but the one before that where 1st and 20, they're doing quarterback runs. So speaking of which, Nick Sirianni, during his press conference yesterday, was asked about, and we'll get to the phones in a second. Ralph and Rich, I see, 610-632-0975. So I can't wait because I'm sure the same question will be asked to Brian Johnson. I cannot. I've never been more excited for a coordinator press conference in my life than today's. I can't wait to hear Brian Johnson try to answer what the hell happened toward the end of that game. Can't wait. I'm actually excited for it. As terrible as that sounds, I'm excited for it because I need to hear this guy's wheels spinning in mud, trying to explain what the hell happened in the second half of that game. He scored 10 points against the Arizona Cardinals. Come on, dude. It's embarrassing. But anyways, Nick Sirianni was asked about it. And there's multiple things to be angry about during it. Take a listen.
We did feel like there was aggression in the play call to be able to, run the run that we ran.
Can you pause it right there? Hold on, pause it. Pause. What? You thought that was aggressive? What are you talking about? It's 1st and 20, and you're running a read option. And then you do it again on 2nd and long. You think that's aggressive? What's aggressive about the bubble screen that's worked once all season long? What is aggressive about that? There is no aggressiveness. There's no aggression. What are you talking about, man? We thought that was an aggressive play call. Dude, I'm not asking you to throw it to the sticks on 1st and 20, but what do you mean? It's not being aggressive. It's being reliant. Because they rely on Jalen Hurts so much to try to get some yards with his legs. I saw an interesting tweet, and we'll continue playing the clip in a second. I saw an interesting tweet from Zach Berman on yesterday, New Year's Day. And he wrote a big write-up about the Eagles' offense and the issues that they're having. And from the story, he tweeted this out. The Eagles have had 3rd downs with 15-plus yards to go 19 times this season. They've attempted a pass with air yards of greater than 7, so that's not even halfway to the first down marker. 5 times. They converted on 3 of those plays. 5 times out of 19. They've had 9 passes of 7 air yards or fewer. They've converted once on those plays and had gains of more than 10 yards twice. Now, one of those plays was that Devontae Smith bubble screen. So on 3rd and 15 or greater, they've only passed the ball 9 times, almost half, fewer than 7 yards. And so I quote tweeted it. I already know what the mindset is. It's analytics, right? It's, well, if it's 3rd and 15 and we throw it like a 6-yard route, and remember, he actually had this answer against the Cowboys, I believe, when they went for it on 4th down. It was 4th and 6, and they threw a 1-yard route to Devontae Smith, and they didn't even complete the pass. He throws a 1-yard route, and he said in his press conference, well, you don't always just have to throw to the sticks to get the first down. Yeah, I know that, dude. But you know how many things have to go right if you're throwing it 1 yard on 4th and 6? You have to catch the ball. You have to be able to break the tackle. Maybe have space. Maybe have a blocker in front of you just to get the first down. Oh, it's just because you're trying to get the ball out quick, which is the weirdest thing to me. And so I know what the thought process is on those 3rd and long. All right, well, if it's 3rd and 15, and if we can get it to 4th and 6, we could probably go for it, depending on where we're at in the field. That's probably what his mindset is. That's living and dying by the 3. That's living and dying by the home run ball. Living and dying by the analytics of a 3rd and long. I get it. You're not always going to go for the sticks. I understand that. But this is their organizational philosophy, or it's his offensive philosophy. And when there's numbers to back up that it's not working, why would you continue to do it ad nauseum? Now, that's 3rd down. 1st and 20, he's talking about aggressive play calling, running the football with Hurts. Continue the clip.
But when something like that doesn't work out, you think to yourself, well, we should have done it the other way, right? And that's just the mud you drag yourself through as a coach. Sometimes the decisions work, sometimes they don't work. And when they don't work, when you're not the one out there, playing, you think to yourself, what could we have done differently in that scenario? And of course, so the different thought process would have been to be past it in that scenario and shoot. So that's something that, we got to live with and we got to, think through.
It just hasn't worked all year. And I think it got clipped out in the beginning of that clip because I read the transcript during the break of the press conference. He talked about miscommunication. Dude, it's week 17. I've heard miscommunication all season long. When is the communication going to get right? It's been 17 weeks. You had guys not on the field correctly. You're shifting guys. You're substituting guys out last second. It's been nonstop miscommunication with this team. And the reason why I wanted to start the segment with that clip is because of what you said last segment, Ray. What is it that you actually do around here? Like, if you're not calling plays, it's getting guys together, like keeping everybody, yeah, it's all right, guys, keep on fighting. But also it's the idea of having everything in check. Calling timeouts appropriately, which he has not done this year. Making sure the right personnel's on the field, which he has not done clearly this year. Being in the ear of Brian Johnson of when to call play. Oh, that's not working either. What does he do? I mean, it's terrible.
I forget which reporter it was, so my apologies on this one. But I saw them quote tweet the answer he gave following the Super Bowl, talking about not going for it on 4th and 3, where he said 32 out of 32 head coaches would take the opportunity right there. And it's something that I harped back on before the season. We were talking and we got in the conversation about Sirianni and, great to go to the Super Bowl, but what, it's about sustaining this, about this. And I remember being really turned off in the Super Bowl by the fact he became more conservative than he had been as a coach.
Yeah, the whole season.
This season, I think back to that Super Bowl. I think back to some of the conservative choices, and that continues to eat at me. The fact that I don't know what's clicked for him, whether it's being risk averse or whether, it's hard for me to fathom. The week after you pick up 3rd and 20 the way you did with Hurts making that great throw to A.J. Brown.
Perfect throw.
That you're not going to even make an attempt to go down the field there, to make an attempt to go after it. And that...
On any of the plays. It's 1st and 20, 2nd and whatever, 3rd and 20. And it was Hurts, and then who even caught... I don't even know...
Gainwell.
Kenneth Gainwell caught the bubble screen.
Gainwell, because they had Smith out blocking for him.
Yeah, and then that's when he got hurt.
Yes. But it's unbelievable because you go to 2nd and 16, you do that read option, and you have to take a timeout for 3rd and 20 because you can't get the right personnel on the field.
Ridiculous.
How does that even happen to you?
Miscommunication.
But
that's what he says, miscommunication. It's week 17, you still got miscommunication going.
Miscommunication across the board. The defense can't communicate with one another. They haven't been able to all season long. You can't get the right guys on the field offensively. And quite clearly, you haven't effectively communicated what you're trying to do because players seem to have tuned it out. I don't understand how. I understand how we got where we are. It's just so unbelievable to see how far this has fallen, how fast it's fallen.
Yeah, it's really bad. It's really bad. And coming up later this hour, I'm going to play you some audio from Brandon Graham and Jalen Hurts and a former Eagle. And it's a message that I just can't hear anymore. And I know they're saying what they probably believe is the right thing to say, and what else do you want them to say? I know you don't want... they're not going to go scorched earth, right? But it's a message that's being sent out there, and I'm like, man, I don't even know if you guys believe this anymore. We'll play that coming up later on this hour. Let's go to the phone. Let's go to Ralph in Levittown. Ralph, you're on The Fanatic.
What's up, dudes? Happy New Year.
What's up, Ralph?
Well, I just wanted to say last week I got hollered at because we were all screaming at the Eagles during the Giants' second half when Brady came in for the Giants. And everybody was mad at me when I called in and I was saying how bad they played in that second half. And the same thing happened in the Cardinals, but we couldn't holler because everybody sat there and shocked.
Yeah.
You're a 13-point favorite at home playing a 4-12 team. Dallas won the game. If you can't win that game, you ain't going anywhere.
Yeah, and you knew they won. They won on Saturday, right? It was the day. It was the day before.
I seen no firepower from this team. They weren't even smacking hands with each other. It was like
no, they're dead. I don't know what's going on that sideline. No, there's none.
They're not together. They're not.
Absolutely not.
Don't believe anything you hear from the locker room. All you got to do is go to a game and watch the sidelines.
Yeah.
Watch the plays. There's a guys walking off the field. The play ain't over.
The only time I saw a little bit of emotion was Sidney Brown having the pick six because that was an incredible play, and they're happy for the young kid. But other than that, no, there's no life on that sideline.
There's no life, none. There's no togetherness. Like last year, it's a completely different team. It's 100% different.
Yeah. And I go back to 2017. They had all the celebrations.
Yeah.
Everybody was kumbaya.
Yeah.
Right? Whether it was Wentz or Foles, everybody was together and having fun. And there's no fun. They have the weight of the world on their shoulders, and there are no expectations left. So you can ignore that
game. Forget it.
Yep.
You're a wild card now. That's it.
Yeah. So you were at the link. How dead was it?
God, it was bad.
Yeah.
At the Giants, everybody showed emotions because they were screaming. They could see it falling apart in the second half. But this game, they knew they lost. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, it's unreal, man. I appreciate the call, Ralph. So I'm sorry that you had to sit through that. Just watching the Eagles just slowly die. That's what they did. They've been dead. It was a slow, painful death on Sunday. Our man Noah checks in. And I appreciate it. He's fighting a good fight, right? Noah checks in. He says, we're going to be okay. It's bad right now, yes, but look around the league. We are the birds, Andrew. You got to believe. I don't got to do squat. He follows up and says, NFL as a whole is god-awful this year. We are still one of the best teams in the league. Refuse to believe that we just aren't good anymore. Well, I go back to what I said in the beginning of the show. Yeah, the offense is talented. It's just the positions that they're put. Like Jalen Hurts doesn't all of a sudden stink. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith don't all of a sudden stink. The defense is not good. The personnel defense is not good. And we've seen that pretty much all season long, except for a couple of weeks. I give them a lot of credit for how they played against Tua and the Dolphins earlier this year. Incredible game. But for the most part, the defense has been a mess. And Noah, I was with you through the first 11 games about the rest of the NFL, the product in the NFL. I was totally with you. But, man, if you start looking at the other teams, teams have turned it up a notch. I know the Niners had an awful game against the Ravens. They bounced right back yesterday or on Sunday. The Rams are a team that all of a sudden scare you. Think about that for a second. The Rams, who are, getting into the playoffs with the wild card, are a team that strikes more fear than the Eagles do at this point. And don't say, you can't say that. The Rams are 9-7. All right. The Rams quarterback plays much better right now. I'm not saying Stafford's a better quarterback than Hurts, but I'm saying right now, quarterback play, Stafford, with his receivers, that's the thing. They don't shy away from who they have at receiver. It's Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua. Let's get these guys involved. They don't shy away from that.
It's also not, hey, these guys are talented. They'll figure it out there on the field. They'll get open. They'll be able to out-talent. We'll be able to outmaneuver them. Because that's also part of the built-in, baked-in philosophy. When you talk about what they do on third down, it's like, oh, yeah, we throw it short of the sticks to our guys because our guys are so talented. They're going to go make the play. They're going to go make it happen. This coaching staff has had a make-it-happen type of mentality with this team for far too long. Of like, oh, we've got the guys. They're going to go do it for us. At some point, you got to coach them open. You got to be able to scheme them open. And they have not done that all season long.
No.
And it's like, wow, this is how good they've played despite being utilized to their maximum effort. We talk all the time about the A.J. Brown slant. How unstoppable is he there? Or getting the ball over the middle of the field. It's like these are things that we're talking about. We're noticing. We can see. How does this coaching staff continue to not do that? Can you imagine the stretch, the season some of these guys be having if they were utilized to their maximum potential?
A.J. Brown earlier this year was. He broke Calvin Johnson's record for 125-plus yards receiving in consecutive weeks. And then defenses start figuring things out, figuring out your tendencies, figuring out what you're doing, and you're supposed to adjust, and they haven't. It's the same plays. And then I got to hear Nick Sirianni talking about how that was an aggressive play call in 1st and 20. Aggressive? No, the aggressive play was the onside kick by Jonathan Gannon. That was the aggressive play. You weren't aggressive. You were hoping to bleed enough clock. And you were hoping that Jalen Hurts gained 5 or 6 yards so that it's now 2nd and 14. And you're now hoping that he can maybe throw a slant route or something, get another 6 yards so that it's 3rd and manageable. That's what you're hoping. There's no aggressiveness in that. You're hoping. All you're doing is hoping. Let's go to Rich in Morrisville. Rich, you're on The Fanatic.
Oh man, there's just no answer. There's no answer to any of this. I'm as we're talking, you know what we do? We analyze and we break down and then we think back. Gentlemen, I'm right now. There's no way you can explain to me. No one can. They shouldn't even ask them any questions. They should ask them one question. They should say, hey, how did we beat Buffalo and Kansas City in the earlier part of the season, and then the later part of the season when we're supposed to be fine-tuned and getting things figured, everything's supposed to be lined up for us to make a Super Bowl run, we lose to god-awful teams.
The 49ers broke them. The 49ers broke them. That's all I can believe at this point, is that they broke them.
Tunis, then answer me this. Riddle me this one. How is this organization that's so great in anticipation and having their finger on the pulse and seeing how things are lining up looking at the transparency and the weakness of the NFL overall this season, looking at the deals and the moves that we made to secure our position for a higher seed to make a legitimate run in the playoffs. We grabbed players and pulled them onto the team via free agency. Or we just grabbed them because we realized that there was a need.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no way that I can understand or make any sense of this organization. I'm not going to put everything at Nick's, blame everything on Sirianni, because as far as I'm concerned, this is who he is. We know exactly who Nick is and what he's about. The players are probably sitting in the team sitting in the meeting saying, "Hey, coach, if you're a little less animated, that might be better for us overall." But
I don't think Nick Sirianni's animation is what helps or hurts this team. Honestly, I think it's game planning. I think it's putting guys in the right position. I think Nick Sirianni is head spinnings right now. Maybe the guys that he had hired around him, the coordinators around him, aren't helping him the way that Shane Steichen did and Jonathan Gannon did. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I mean, the guy's talking about miscommunication in Week 17, Rich.
So the last piece of this, let's just put this again in perspective. I'm starting to think that they scrapped it. They scrapped our season before we even realized it, and that's what's happening. What's happening is we are not. They realized, whoever it is, we made these players. We made these moves. We grabbed some players to bring them in. I think we wanted to be run heavy. I think that was the idea. When they realized that we weren't going to be run heavy, we'll be able to be run heavy. They transitioned. So I'm losing my words. I'm tripping.
No, that's all right, Rich. I appreciate the call. I don't think any of that. I think they were winning games. They were finding ways to win games to the point where there was. I brought this up a couple of times. Jalen Hurts walking off the field against the Chiefs, because that was the ESPN. That was the Monday night game. And Lisa Salters asked, how do you guys keep doing this? I don't know. He didn't have an answer, right? And then the following week against the Bills, he's walking off the field, and the Eagles' social media team handed him the phone to record a video. And he said, and I quote, "What do you want me to say?" Like in a happy way, right? But what do you want me to say? Because they just kept on finding ways to win. And then they got punched multiple times in the face against the 49ers. And then I think they realized, oh, wow, okay, maybe we aren't as good as we thought we were. And then I think fear struck them, and they lost to the Cowboys. And then I got to hear Fletcher Cox talking about how we'll find out what this team is made of, the guys in this locker room. He said, I thought the Cowboys game would be the tell of what this team was made of, the attitude, whether or not this team was together. But I took Fletcher Cox's words for it. He's the player. I'm just the dude on the radio. So they go into the Seattle game and lose. 49ers broke them, and they haven't been able to find a way to band together since. They tried a players-only meeting. That's great. Coming up next, Jeff McClain joins us at 11:30. But before McClain, I'm going to play you some clips. One from Brandon Graham on Sunday. Then I'm going to go back in time, Jalen Hurts, the previous Monday after the Giants game. And then I'm going to go back to 2020. And I'm going to play you something from a player. And it's the same message. You'll hear those next right here, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Happy New Year. Everybody lost. I'm Ray Dunn. This update is brought to you by AAA Car Care. Save $120 on select sets of 4 Cooper tires now through January 16th only at AAA Car Care centers. Details at AAA.com/mycar. The Eagles collapsed against the Cardinals on Sunday. Birds squandered a 15-point halftime lead and surrendered 29 second-half points in a 35-31 loss to the Cardinals. Cardinals ran for 221 yards, gained 449 yards of offense, and held the ball for nearly 40 minutes of game time. Eagles became the first team in NFL history to start 10-1 and lose 4 of their next 5 games. Now they sit in 5th place in the NFC, and Dallas can win the NFC East with a win on Sunday against the Commanders. Jeff McClain will join the show coming up in the next segment at 11:30 to talk all things Birds. 76ers also lost over the weekend. This team can't figure out the Chicago Bulls, of all teams, falling 105-92 on Saturday night. Since the start of December, the Sixers have lost just 4 games. 2 of them have been to the Bulls. Tonight, Sixers host the Bulls at 7. Catch the live call right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. Fanatic. The Flyers fell to the Flames 4-3 on Sunday night, their 4th loss in 5 games. The West Coast swing for them ends in Edmonton tonight against the Oilers at 9 o'clock. Catch that game on WMMR. Keep it locked here for all the latest news and information. I'm Ray Dunn on the home for the Sixers and Flyers, 97.5 The Fanatic.
The Philadelphia 76ers play here. Every game home and away. We'll have the play-by-play tonight. Presented by Corona, official partner of the 76ers. The Villa Cerveza. This is the exclusive home for Sixers basketball. 97.5 The Fanatic.
Hey, it's Jen Scordo. The NFL regular season is wrapping up, but there's still time to get in on all the action with FanDuel in partnership with Valley Forge, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $150 in bonus bets, win or lose for $5. The app is so easy to use, and there are so many different ways to bet, like live same-game parlays, or you can find bets in the new Explore tab. Try to make a parlay in the Parlay Hub, the best way to find popular parlays, and so much more. Pick your favorite team to win on the spread. Pick a wide receiver to go over on receiving yards, on your favorite tight end to score first, and maybe a quarterback to score an anytime touchdown. It can all happen in that Parlay Hub. So visit FanDuel.com/Scordo. That's FanDuel.com/Scordo and make your first bet a touchdown. FanDuel, the official partner of the NFL.
21 plus and present PA. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Urgent Camp Lejeune settlement message. On September 6th, the government announced it will soon begin providing fast, guaranteed settlements to Camp Lejeune Marines, families, and civilians. Awards will range between $100,000 and $550,000, with an option for higher amounts. If you or a loved one spent time at Camp Lejeune and suffered cancers of the bladder, liver, or kidneys, leukemia, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, Parkinson's, or kidney issues, you may qualify for compensation and could be paid within 60 days after accepting your settlement, with your VA benefits fully protected. You
gets engaged. Jeff McClain will join us coming up at 11:30, as he does each and every Tuesday, where we break down the game. And there's a lot to break down, and it's not just about the play itself. It's about this entire team. It's the locker room. It's Nick Sirianni. I mean, fire Nick Sirianni was all over Twitter over the weekend, and I'm a Sirianni fan. I'm not about to fire him today. But, dude, it's time to start questioning him. Big time. Now, what I wanted to do before I get back to the phones, I want to take a trip down memory lane. Because one of the reasons why I know for a fact it's over is the messaging. So, after the game, I know he's saying this because he kind of has to say it. He's the vet. He's the captain. Eagles Hall of Famer, Ring of Honor, whatever you want to call it. An incredible career and a forever Eagle. Brandon Graham was at his locker after the game, and he was speaking to the media. And, obviously, they're asking about the game. And take a listen to what BG had to say.
We just didn't make the plays to win it, to help us. And I look at it like all this is building character for us. Like, it's how we handling some of this stuff. We know that we can't give away nothing. We got to take everything. And, I just want to give Arizona credit. They came in, they played. And I know for us, man, it's going to happen. And it's happening. We just got to make it through this little storm right now. But we believe in us. And so, at the end of the day, I know we're going to get it right. And I feel so good because, we're going to go out next week, take care of our business, and then 0-0 at that point. And everything else is one. It's week to week. And so I hope these guys just continue to keep learning from these moments right here because it's only building our character. It's only going to test us. And so how are we going to respond? So I believe in us, and I know we believe in us. So, man, I'm not worried at all, but it's a lot to learn from a game like this.
So they're just getting through a little storm. I mean, this isn't a summertime storm. This is a hurricane right now. All right, you lose 4 of your last 5 games, one of which to a team that had 3 wins going into it. All right, you can't lose to Drew Lock a couple weeks prior. You can't barely hold on against the New York Giants. You can't give up 6 straight touchdown drives to the San Francisco 49ers and come back with a pitiful performance against the Cowboys. You can't do any of that. He talks about how they're close. Close to what? The defense is not close. The defense is not talented. With all due respect to guys like Brandon Graham and Fletcher Cox, the vets on this team, Hassan Reddick, who's an incredible talent. But ultimately, the 11 on the field is not good enough and hasn't been good enough and won't be good enough, and that's not changing. No veteran linebacker that's on the street is going to save you. You were reliant on Bradley Roby earlier this year and Shaq Leonard. Like that's not gonna save the season. Those players on defense. I can't hear how close the Eagles are. I can't hear that, especially after a loss. And I know I love Brandon Graham. And I know he's saying, I'm guessing what he's supposed to say. And I said this on Sunday when I was tweeting about it. Like, I probably should have just muted the TV because I love Brandon Graham. I don't want to. Not that I'm speaking negatively of Brandon Graham, but, I can't hear that messaging. Especially when I heard it last week when the Eagles beat the Giants and Jalen Hurts talks about the team being close.
I'd love to say we're close. And I think it's trending in the right direction. When you demand such excellence of yourself and you got the type of guys we have on our team, everybody's going to be eager to grow. Everybody's going to be eager for more. But, when did winning not become the main thing? And I think with that standard that we talk about, though, it's like that double-edged sword of, what's more important, winning or the standard. It's a very manipulative thing to the mind sometimes, but I can go play to the standard and lose, and I'll be sitting at home sick. I can go win and I play to the standard and I can be like, man, we got some more in us. You know, we can go chase it. So it's that fight that we battle as competitors.
Yeah, well, you're feeling sick today because you lost. Hurts is all right, 18 to 23, 167 yards, 3 touchdowns. They throw an interception. But forget all that. The standard and winning is the main thing. He talks about how close they are. Because they finally won a game. He talked about that they were close. And they finally won a game against a terrible New York Giants team in which you had a 20-3 halftime lead against, and you won by 8. You allowed them to come back in the game because of miscues. Talking about how you're close. So all this reminds me of 2020. The Eagles did not make the playoffs that year. Carson Wentz was your starting quarterback. It was a mess, an absolute mess. Eventually, Jalen Hurts took over, as we remember. But earlier in that year, when they kept losing games, Carson Wentz, the franchise quarterback, just kept on talking about how close they were. Take a listen to this clip. I think this was either before or after a game against the Ravens in which they were down big early and then came back, but they ultimately lost.
Not where we want to be, not what we expected. Obviously, there's a lot of things going on with the protocols, with no excuses, but a lot of injuries, a lot of moving pieces. But the guys that have been stepping up and the way we've responded and been resilient in some of these games and done some things well, there's a lot of good to build on. There's some small things that are still holding us back that we got to take care of and execute at a higher level. But there's a lot of encouraging things from a lot of these younger guys and the way guys have rallied around. And I think we're going to get this thing turned around.
Turn around, close. Not playing to our expectations, not playing to our standard. Just got to get through this storm. That's why it's 2020 all over again. When the Philadelphia Eagles were in games, but they weren't necessarily winning them, and then they went on a spiral. And then they ultimately didn't even make the playoffs, and then you had to trade your quarterback, and everybody wanted the GM fired, and the head coach ended up getting fired. They're in the playoffs this year, so it's not as dire, but it's very reminiscent of the 2020 season when I had to hear Carson Wentz every single week. I was doing the postgame show back then. A couple of years of postgame, now I'm doing pregame. And so I had to play all those press conferences. I had to hear Doug Peterson spiral, not have an answer, and say we got to work on some things, and it starts with me. I had to hear Carson Wentz talk about how close they were every single week. And they never figured it out. This team, talent-wise, is much better than that team. I mean, that year, the wide receivers were an aging Alshon Jeffrey, Deshaun Jackson. Remember, he missed a lot of time that year. Jalen Reagor, John Hightower. You know, Quez Watkins wasn't even the better receiver amongst those two, Hightower and Quez Watkins. This year, it's different. It's A.J. Brown, it's Devontae Smith, it's Dallas Goedert. Far more talent with this team. I'm not comparing the two teams in terms of talent. I'm just comparing the two teams in terms of the messaging. And the messaging is the same. It's really not that close. They're spiraling out of control. They have no answers. And it's an absolute mess right now. The number to climb in is 610-632-0975. But now, as we do every single Tuesday around this time, we speak to one of the great reporters in this city from the Inquirer, Inquirer.com. That's Jeff McClain. Jeff, Happy New Year. How you doing?
Hey, Andrew, how are you? Happy New Year.
I mean, I'm doing great, I guess, personally, but when it comes to the Eagles, I'm not necessarily doing all that good. So, Jeff, let me ask you, let's put talent aside, because we know that there is talent on this team. Can this team turn things around in terms of how everyone is acting in the locker room, in terms of miscommunication that Nick Sirianni keeps on pointing out 17 weeks into the season? Like, is this team still together?
Well, I guess the last 5 games speak to the contrary. And honestly, quite frankly, the entire season does, because, you know, I don't think they've had a win that you could say was across the board impressive and one in line with how they performed last year. Now, of course, there were changes that were made during the offseason, and I think as a result, we're seeing this team decline. But it's going to be hard for them to turn this around. You know, as you mentioned, this is week 17, or now we're heading into week 18, and a lot of the errors, the issues that have been prevalent on this team haven't gone away. That being said, I think I saw somewhere that there's 20 teams that are still eligible to make the playoffs heading into the last weekend, the most in like 41 years. And that speaks to the parity in this league.
Mm-hmm.
There aren't really any great teams in the NFL this season. There are some very good ones, and I think obviously the 49ers and on the AFC side, probably the Ravens qualify, but I don't think there's teams that are like far ahead better than the Eagles, and maybe that's what they can hang their hats on. It's hard to see that happening with the way things have gone the last month plus. But if they somehow sneak into that number 2 seed and they have a home game this coming, the following weekend, who knows?
Right, but that's the thing. That's why I asked talent aside, right? Because I know they have the talent. Like they have the runner-up of MVP in Jalen Hurts at quarterback. They have A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. They have Dallas Goedert. They have one of the best offensive lines, if not the best offensive line in all of football, which should tell you that they should take care of business against the Arizona Cardinals, against Drew Lock and the Seattle Seahawks, and not allow 6 straight touchdown drives and have no answers against the 49ers. But over the last 5 weeks, I mean, I can't even put my hat on talent anymore, Jeff.
Well, I mean, look, they do have talent, but like, is the talent as great as we've been told? Or, Howie Roseman at the beginning of the season, when I asked him about letting guys go, he said, "Oh, well, this is the most difficult because he's implying that he has assembled this great roster." And if you look at the defensive side of the ball, is it that great? There's young players on that side of the ball that have potential, but you've invested first round picks and traded up for both of them in Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis the last 2 years. And I'm not saying these guys won't turn out to be very good players. I think Jalen Carter has immense amount of talent.
Right.
But they weren't probably ready to step into Javon Hargrave's shoes, right? And then you look at the linebacker position, and you didn't do anything there until Zach Cunningham came, and you signed him, and he was the best linebacker they've had this year. So that tells you how he thinks about that position. And then safety, you let both of your starters go, and I'm not saying that you had to bring both C.J. Gardner-Johnson or even Marcus Epps back, but the moves that you've made subsequently there have not panned out. So I don't know how great is the talent on this team. I think that's a fair question to posit, considering the way that they've performed. Look, I get you. I think it's been a coaching issue, probably a little more has been probably a little more the issue than maybe the roster. But I think it's fair to question this narrative that this is such a great roster.
I know. Brian Johnson's the one calling plays, and it's Nick Sirianni's offense. Can you talk a little bit to what Nick Sirianni had to say in the press conference yesterday, where he believed they had an aggressive play calling in the second to last drive when it was 2 Jalen Hurts runs and then a wide receiver screen on the 3rd and 20 that's worked once all season long? This goes back to coaching.
Yeah, well, he said after the game he thought it was aggressive, considering the way that they were blitzing the gaps. But then yesterday he conceded that maybe he wasn't aggressive enough. So hedged a little bit there the following day upon watching the film. And I think it's pretty hard for him. It would have been hard for him to come back and say, yeah, in that situation, we should have thrown downfield a little more.
Right.
And, I think specifically, even on 3rd and 20, you still have A.J. Brown. You still have great receivers. Get the ball into their hands and see what they can do. Great yards after catch receivers in Brown and Dallas Goedert, and you're just dumping to Kenny Gainwell. I mean, that is probably not even the worst example of how they were being too conservative in that situation, especially when your defense at this point is struggling to stop the Cardinals' offense. They won touchdown. In fact, they didn't force a punt the entire game up to that point.
Yeah, it's amazing. Now, if you're a player in this locker room, you mentioned A.J. Brown, right? He's there. A.J. Brown's he had 5 targets the entire game. Does A.J. Brown have the right to go up to Nick Sirianni and say, "Yo, dude, what are we doing here?" I just don't know what the communication process is between player and coach. And I know Sirianni says it's a team effort and it starts with me. It just seems like it's the same stuff every single week, and that's what's starting all this frustration for players.
Yeah, well, I mean, the 5 targets, only 49 plays or 47 plays, that had a lot to do with the, not throwing the ball much. I mean, like, that was a defensive loss, first and foremost.
Right, absolutely.
And, but there are obviously still clearly issues on the offensive side of the ball. And really up until that last drive, I thought that the play calling was solid. I thought the scheme was solid. They did some new things in the offense, in the run game, in the pass game, got Julio Jones involved more than they have this entire season. So there were some good developments there. But, there's something obviously inherently flawed with the team, because even when the offense is playing a little bit better, the defense can't even get anything done. But to answer your question, I mean, A.J. Brown's the captain, so, there's no reason to think that he can't go up to Nick Sirianni and express some of the concerns about what's going on. And, I'd like to ask A.J. about that. He hasn't been talking the last 2 weeks. Said after the game that, like, and I've kind of talked to him a little bit on the side last week, to be clear. It's not like he's not talking to the local media and he's just totally shutting us out. He just hasn't done an interview with cameras there and all that on the record. And he says his issue isn't really with, like, media coverage. I think his issue is that, well, with the general narrative out there in the public from some, and yes, there have been some that have kind of perpetuated this narrative, is that, he's this malcontent, he's a diva, all this other stuff. And really, honestly, having known AJ and spent some time with him, went down to Starkville, did a story on him, I don't think that is anywhere near close to being the case. I don't think that's fair, just having been around AJ. Is he emotional? Yes, he can be emotional. I think that's his passion he has for the game and knows that he can affect the game in a positive manner, and I think that's just kind of what you're seeing. But, yeah, I mean, I think some of it is just general frustrations with how the offense is going and how plays are being called and how they're not doing enough to get the ball to him. So we'll see. I mean, these next 2 games are going to be a referendum on Nick and his status in the locker room, I believe.
We're speaking to Jeff McClain on the Comcast Business Hotline. That leads me to my next question. I mean, obviously fans are, they react, and, sometimes during the game it's maybe not logically, but there was a lot of Nick Sirianni, fire Sirianni talk on social media and, of course, during the post-game show with callers. I mean, is there any chance if this continues to spiral out of control that he could lose the locker room and then ultimately lose his job?
I mean, look, he made the playoffs each of the first 3 years that he's been the head coach.
Right.
That's quite an accomplishment. He came very close to winning the Super Bowl just a year ago. It's very hard to see that being the case. This collapse, when you're in the middle of it, it feels bad. I think it's fair to point out all the mistakes and errors and then the quality of the coaching at this point in the season. I'm not there yet. Jeffrey Lurie typically is patient, but we've seen with the last 2 head coaching hires, he's pulled the trigger in terms of firing them pretty quickly, Doug Peterson and Chip Kelly.
Right.
There's a lot more that factors into the decision of head coach. There's a lot more that goes on within those walls that it take me hours upon hours to kind of go through to walk you through as to.
We're losing you. Looks like we lost Jeff. All right, Jeff, listen, if you can still hear me, I think we lost you. I appreciate you coming on as always, and have a great new year. We'll talk to you next week. All right, there he is, Jeff McClain on the Comcast Business Hotline. I guess we lost him. I know he's probably driving to Novacare at this point because there's press conferences in about 5 minutes. So I'll just shoot him a text, let him know that we lost him. Yeah, I will be honest. I don't think they're firing Nick Sirianni, and I'm not ready to fire Nick Sirianni. But the dude's going to have to make changes. The whole hot seat conversation, I don't think he's on the hot seat right now. I think the hot seat's next season, though. If you spiral out of control, you lose in the first round, you're going into the season on the hot seat. And because I don't think it would be right to fire him after the season ended if they lose in the first round. I don't think so.
Remember we had the conversation about Mariah's season?
Yes.
It's not a hot seat. It's a defrosted seat.
Yes.
It was ice cold.
Yeah.
Now
nobody was thinking about it even 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Even after they lost to San Francisco and Dallas, nobody was saying fire Sirianni, right? I know there were frustrations, but I don't think anybody was calling for his job.
No. If these were leftovers, everyone else would heat them up before we talked about it. These are the leftovers you eat right now. His seat is about as warm as that.
Yeah.
It's
cold.
But questions have to be presented.
Absolutely.
And his philosophies also have to be questioned. And whether or not he shows, and that I think that's the biggest piece of the Lurie and hot seat conversation with him. This organization prides itself on being the cutting edge. Guess what? You looked fantastic a season ago. The league caught up to you this season.
Yeah.
Do you have enough answers to say that this team will take a step back to being at the cutting edge of football next season? He has to present those answers. He has to present a plan to get to that place.
And he'll be they're if they lose in the first round, like Brian Johnson's not coming back next year. I have a strong feeling he will not be the offensive coordinator next year. It's been too bad all season long. I don't know. Like Sean Desai obviously is not your defensive coordinator. Like there's no way he can come back as DC next season.
Well, yeah, I think defensively, I think a lot is going to get cleared
It's either
out there.
Patricia or someone new. It's like that's what it's going to be.
It's someone new. I think they're clearing a ton there. I'm curious on the Johnson side.
Why? Because you don't want to have another new coordinator for Jalen Hurts?
I think that'll play into it. I think the fact that, okay, if you were the head coach that brought in 2 new coordinators and then got rid of 2 new coordinators, what message does that send to potential replacements, potential guys that you want to bring in here?
I think I almost look at it like this. I don't think he's reached Brandon Staley territory where, hey, we're going to give you one more shot, but we're going to, you're going to pick the next 2 coordinators, right? Like, I don't think it's that. But you talk about cutting edge. Like, this offense is not cutting edge. This offense is predictable. It's boring. Talent aside, it's mediocre, right? Like the play. I mean, there's nothing different that they're doing. Like Miami is cutting edge right now. San Francisco is cutting edge right now in terms of the play calling and the game planning. Jeff McClain said it right. They were pretty good in the first 3 quarters of that game. Well, they got shut out in the third quarter. But then they went back to what they thought would always work, and it hasn't. It'll be interesting to see what happens during this offseason. We'll get more into the Nick Sirianni conversation about the hot seat because I know a lot of people already have him on it. Coming up next, Ray has some numbers. I know we haven't really talked much about the defense because I just keep on saying the defense stinks. I know that. It's the offense shouldn't spiral out of control in games like we've seen. But Ray has some damning numbers about our defense that we've been talking about all season long. Coming up next, he'll give you those numbers. We'll go through the playoff picture because Jeff said they could still back into the 2nd seed. I don't think that's going to happen. So what happens? What's the path if they do finish as the wild card team, the top wild card spot, which is the 5th seed? We'll run through that playoff path. And is Nick Sirianni on the hot seat for you? We had a caller drop off when Jeff was on. He said he wanted to get rid of Sirianni. Is Nick Sirianni on the hot seat officially for you? 610-632-0975. I'm Andrew Salchunas. The Midday Show right here, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
A weekend filled with losses. I'm Ray Dunn. This update is brought to you by Mattress Firm. A new year calls for a better bed. At Mattress Firm's once-a-year sale and clearance, save up to 60% on select mattresses. The right mattress matters, and Mattress Firm will find yours. The Eagles collapsed against the Cardinals. Birds squandered a 15-point halftime lead and surrendered 29 second-half points in a 35-31 loss to the Cardinals on Sunday. Cardinals ran for 221 yards, gained 449 yards of offense, and held the ball for nearly 40 minutes of game time. Eagles became the first team in NFL history to start 10-1 and lose 4 of their next 5 games. Now they sit in 5th place in the NFC, and Dallas could win the NFC East with a win on Sunday against the Commanders. Jeff McClain just joined the show in that last segment to talk all things Birds. You'll be able to catch that conversation one more time at 97.5thefanatic.com. The 76ers also lost over the weekend. This team can't figure out the Chicago Bulls. They fall 105-92 on Saturday night. Since the start of December, the Sixers have lost just 4 games. 2 of them have been to the Bulls. And guess what? Tonight, the Sixers, they host the Bulls at 7. Catch the live call right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. Flyers fell to the Flames on Sunday night. Their 4th loss in 5 games. West Coast swing for them ends in Edmonton against the Oilers at 9 o'clock. Catch that game on WMMR. Keep it locked here for all the latest news and information. I'm Ray Down, the home for the Sixers and Flyers. 97.5 The Fanatic.
Philadelphia 76ers basketball. The games are here.
Tyrese, he's trying to split a trap with 5. He jumps it. It goes through the hands of Melton, but it goes to Oubre. 2. Oubre for 3. It's in. How about that?
Head coach Nick Nurse leads the team with exciting hoops action.
The most important thing is you got to compete and you got to believe you can win.
Tom McGinnis delivers the live call.
Reed out top behind his back. He goes to the left side. Maxey. 3-point shot by Tyrese is good. The 76ers get a big-time 3, and Maxey will seal the deal.
97.5 The Fanatic.
Hey, it's Jen Scordo. The NFL regular season is wrapping up, but there's still time to get in on all the action with FanDuel in partnership with Valley Forge, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $150 in bonus bets, win or lose for $5. The app is so easy to use, and there are so many different ways to bet, like live same-game parlays, or you can find bets in the new Explore tab. Try to make a parlay in the Parlay Hub, the best way to find popular parlays, and so much more. Pick your favorite team to win on the spread. Pick a wide receiver to go over on receiving yards, on your favorite tight end to score first, and maybe a quarterback to score an anytime touchdown. It can all happen in that Parlay Hub. So visit FanDuel.com/Scordo. That's FanDuel.com/Scordo and make your first bet of the NFL.
21 plus and present PA. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Some days I cover up because of my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis. Now I'm hitting the road with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieved 90% clearer skin at 4 months. And Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Life can be tough, and sometimes it's hard to find someone who will listen. But we want you to know there's always someone you can turn to, day or night. The 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is completely confidential and here for you 24/7 every day of the year. You don't have to struggle alone. Call 988 and let us help. We're here ready to listen because your life matters. Call or text 988 or chat at 988lifeline.org/chat. A message from New Jersey Human Services.
Look outside at that cold backyard. I know what you're thinking. Next spring and summer, you want to be entertaining out there. You want a jaw-dropping outdoor paradise. Well, I've got an answer for you. It's Landis Block and Concrete. Now, they have a beautiful showroom in Souderton where you can see all of their beautiful materials that are going to help create that beautiful backyard oasis. But better yet, you can just go to landisbc.com and check out their photo gallery. It's cold now, but it's going to be hot then. And you're going to want a hot backyard. You're going to get it with Landis Block and Concrete. Go to landisbc.com.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZQuil.
ZQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZQuil nights. Explore our products at ZQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Did you know that futzing with your thermostat accounts for up to 1/3 of your energy bill? Those little adjustments add up fast. You know what else adds up fast? The federal tax credits of up to $2,000, local utility rebates on new high-efficiency systems, and PICO rebates of up to $650 on qualifying gas furnaces. See dealer for details. Visit Train.com to find an independent Delaware Valley train comfort specialist near you. It's hard to stop a train.
So you're in the middle of a kitchen update, and you can't tell if that's a faucet stem or a flange. With the Home Depot app, doing doesn't miss a beat. It'll find what you need in a snap, and it'll show you how to find it in store with a tap. Or get it delivered free. For doing that doesn't stop, download the Home Depot app. It's made for doing.
Become a member of Society 76 with Philadelphia 76ers season tickets. On sale now. As a 76ers season ticket member, you have the best access any ticket package has to offer. You'll receive guaranteed playoff access, invitations to exclusive 76ers events, a dedicated representative to help personalize your membership, and more. For additional information, visit Sixers.com/tickets or call the Sixers at 215-339-7676.
Hey, it's John Kincaid, host of The John Kincaid Show and three-time cancer survivor. I want to thank all of you who have joined me in supporting life-saving cancer research by donating at aacr.org/fanatic. And to our generous corporate partners, thank you so much for stepping up and supporting the AACR, the official charity of The John Kincaid Show.
Davis CPA Group. For personalized caring accountants, bookkeeping, payroll, and tax preparation services, visit daviscpagroup.com. From blowers and trimmers to chainsaws and mowers, Paul B. Moyer & Sons in Doylestown and Jamison, PA has the best in outdoor power equipment, including parts and service. Visit paulbmoyer.com today. You can always count on H&H Heating and Air Conditioning for total home comfort and fast, friendly, and local HVAC service. Visit delcohvac.com.
Donations to the American Association for Cancer Research from our listeners and corporate partners add up to big breakthroughs that benefit cancer patients worldwide. Why don't you join me and make a life-saving donation today at aacr.org/fanatic.
WPEN Burlington, Philadelphia, a Beasley Media Group station. Official home of the Sixers, Flyers, Union, and the best Eagles talk in Philadelphia. 97.5 The Fanatic.
11:52, 97.5 The Fanatic. I'm Andrew Salchunas. It's the Midday Show. We'll get to the NFL playoff picture in a second. I have an email from a guy named Scott who asked a question that I would love to talk about a little bit. And then I got raised numbers for the defense. But I'm going to take 5 seconds, not 5 seconds, like 2 minutes away from the Eagles. Just to maybe just change the mood and then completely get right back to where I was at. First off, let's do caller 5. Caller 5 to the contest line, 215-263-0975. Caller 5 to the contest line, 215-263-0975. Win a pair of tickets to tonight's Sixers game. Sixers taking on the Bulls tonight at the Wells Fargo Center. To purchase tickets for any 76ers game, visit Ticketmaster.com/Sixers, 76ers, excuse me. We have 2 pairs, sorry. So callers 5 and 6. How about that? Callers 5 and 6. Win a pair of Sixers tickets for tonight's game against the Bulls, 215-263-0975. So maybe giving some tickets away will make me feel a little bit better. Another random thing that popped up on Twitter, but it leads me to something else. You know the Codify Baseball Twitter account? They just put out a bunch of random stuff.
Yes, love that.
Such a random. Callers 5 and 6. Brendan, thanks for listening. The last MLB player to start and finish 162 regular season games in 1 year. Did you see this?
I did see this.
Just so random that it popped up. Juan Pierre of the 2004 Marlins, which is crazy. I wonder if that's ever going to be beaten.
Not in today's day and age.
Not in today's game, no. And that kind of leads me to something else. I saw Dylan McKinnon, the D-Train, going back and forth with somebody on social media about Jimmy Rollins. So Rob Motti, our old friend, he put out his Hall of Fame ballot. And he had Jimmy Rollins on there, and he put out a few tweets about Jimmy Rollins. And some random dude in L.A. responded. I like your ballot for the most part. I just disagree on Rollins, though. His MVP is one of the bigger injustices of the last 25 years and shouldn't carry much weight. He accumulated some nice counting numbers, but his 95 OPS plus and his WRC plus put him well below Hall of Fame standards, even for shortstop. Come on, dude. Like, why are we doing that? Why are you going to the 18th page of the stat sheet to try to prove a guy that should or shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame? Why?
Because he didn't live day to day with Rollins.
I guess. It's just ridiculous to me. All right, I'm done now. Back to the Eagles. Back to misery. So you have some numbers about our stellar Eagles defense.
Yes. Would you like to be miserable?
Well, I already am, so it can't really get much worse.
Sounds good. Well, let's live in this misery then. So I went through the month of December because Happy New Year, Happy January. December is over. And there were 5 Birds games from the 49ers game, leading you all the way to that wonderful Cardinals game.
Yes.
And the Eagles' defense was on the field for 48 drives. So this includes any time the opposing team just took the ball.
Okay.
3 of those ended a game or ended a half. So, okay, if we take those out. Let's say 45 drives.
Okay, 45. 45 legit drives.
45 legit drives.
Yeah.
17 of them ended in touchdowns. 11 of them ended in field goals. So 28 of what would be 45 legitimate drives ended in scoring.
That would be more than half.
That would be. Not a good math guy, but I think that one could check out.
That would be more than half. Yeah.
Yes, 28 of 45 drives ended up in scoring. Just 12 ended up in punts. So you say, well, 12 punts. Let's really look at that. 5 of them came against Drew Lock. 4 of them came against the Giants, and I believe all 4 were in the Tommy DeVito time. So really, 9 punts forced. 9 of the 12 punts forced coming against Lock and DeVito.
And by the way, they went 1-1 in those 2 games.
Correct.
They lost the one to Drew Lock.
And if you want to continue to get really, really upset with this, the 2 punts they forced against the 49ers come in that first quarter. So when you really think about it, since the second quarter of the 49ers game, the Eagles have forced 1 punt to quarterbacks not named Drew Lock and Tommy DeVito.
Yeah, they didn't allow the Cardinals didn't punt once.
No, they did not.
The Arizona Cardinals, the team that had 3 wins going into it.
Correct, yes. I think they were 26th in scoring offense, if I remember correctly. Yeah. 0 punts, 4 touchdowns, pair of field goals, 1 defensive touchdown, and then 1 end of the half. That's your drive summary. Brought to you by your local dealership.
Brought to you by Ray Dunn.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great. The defense is just stellar right now. And that's, again, look, do you want to say the defense is the main reason why the Eagles lost to the Arizona Cardinals? Fine. I just know that the defense isn't getting fixed, which is why I don't really spend as much time. Is that fair or unfair to the offense? Maybe. But the offense has Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, one of the best offensive lines in the entire game. The defense doesn't have that talent. They really don't. They have Darius Slay who's not playing. They have James Bradbury that's lost a step. They have Hassan Reddick. Where's the rest of the superior talent on defense? You like the future of Jalen Carter. Jordan Davis has a role, but he's not this game changer. Josh Sweat, where's he been? In the last 6 weeks, where's he been? He's done nothing. There's no superior talent on this defense, which is why I can't go. I almost feel like it's a waste of my time to really complain about the defense because I know what they're going to give to you. It's not good. It's not going to get better. It's not going to change. The Eagles' offense, there's no way they should sputter at times. I'm not expecting a touchdown every single drive. But my God, when you start your second to last drive right around midfield because of the onside kick attempt, and you all of a sudden are running 2 quarterback runs on 1st and 20, 2nd and 16, and then you're doing a screen to Kenneth Gainwell on 3rd and 20. What? A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith didn't get a look in that drive. The only time we heard Devontae Smith's name in that drive was because he got hurt blocking on the wide receiver screen, which I still don't understand why they do this. The dude's 100 pounds. Stop it. We'll hear from Brian Johnson at some point. Michael Clay just finished speaking. He's special teams coordinator. So the question will be, is it Brian Johnson next or is it Matt Patricia? But we are going to play Brian Johnson's press conference because I can't wait to hear this dude try to give us answers. And I can't wait for him to say, I thought there were some good things that happened, blah, blah, blah. No, dude, you guys are a mess. So we'll play that coming up. Now, the playoff picture. So as of right now, the Eagles are not the division leaders in the NFC East, and they're the top wild card team. It can't get any lower than the 5th seed. And the only way for them to still win the division is obviously they have to win on Sunday, but they need the Cowboys to lose to the Commanders. The Cowboys, by the way, 13.5-point favorites this weekend against the Commanders. I don't think the Cowboys are going to drop this one. I really don't. If they do, that'd be great. But let's just say, for segment purposes, the Eagles finish as the 5 seed. They finish as the top wildcard team. So what they would do in the first round is travel to the winner of the NFC South, which right now is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They are actually tied with the New Orleans Saints. The Bucs play the Panthers on Sunday. So I would imagine a win for the Bucs against the Panthers, they win the division. And if they don't beat the Panthers, it's the winner of the Saints and Falcons game because the two of them face off on Sunday. Either way, Bucs, Saints, Falcons. You should not lose to any of these teams. You should not lose to any of these teams. Now, you lost to the Arizona Cardinals, and the New York Giants almost came back and beat you. You lost to Drew Lock and the Seahawks. So I can't say it's a lock that they win. But you should not lose to any of those teams. Is it fair to say that? Should not lose? Like, they should not have lost to the Cardinals. They did.
You should not.
But they should not have lost to the Cardinals. Okay. So they win. They beat the Bucs. They beat the Saints. They beat the Falcons. Whoever comes out on top of the NFC South. So now you're the 5th seed, and you're moving on, which would most likely be the San Francisco 49ers, unless the Rams upset the Cowboys. Possible. Rams' offense has been great. The Lions put up a good fight against the Cowboys. It would not be impossible. Oh, no, sorry. The Rams would be playing the Lions, so it would be the Packers.
Hey.
So we would need your Jordan Love-led Packers to upset the Cowboys. Now, Jordan Love and the Packers playing some good football. For argument's sake, the Packers do not beat the Cowboys.
Or for logical sake.
I'll
dump that, though.
So the Eagles would be playing the Niners unless the Rams beat the Lions. Like, there is a chance, right? Like, the Rams could beat the Lions. And if the Rams were to beat the Lions and the Packers lost to the Cowboys, the 49ers would be playing the Rams because they're the lower seed. The Eagles would then travel to Dallas. You feel good about either way? Do you feel good about it's really Cowboys or Niners? Do you feel good at this point that they beat any of these teams?
No.
Absolutely not.
We're talking about you should beat the NFC South.
Right, that's the problem. That's how bad we are. That's how down bad we are, that we are saying, man, they should really beat one of those 3 teams in the first round.
We should be talking about them going on the road in the divisional round, right? We should be talking about them. You were handed an inside track to the number 2 seed.
Yeah.
By hard officiating in the Cowboys-Lions game. We did the whole should you root for the Cowboys thing, and the Cowboys did the thing that you needed them to do. You were given the inside track. All that stood in front of you was a 3-12 Cardinals team and the remains of whatever this Giants season is. That was all you needed to do to go get you that number 2 seed. To go and no one's won the NFC's back-to-back season. You could have done that. You could have taken all care of that. But no, we sit here today talking about, wow, you should beat the NFC South. You should have been playing whatever slop comes through that 7th seed. I know we've had fun this year with my whole love of Jordan Love and the Packers, but whatever team gets that 7th seed, you should have been given the privilege of beating them down and moving on to a divisional game. You should have hosted multiple playoff games at Lincoln Financial Field.
2 rounds, and then you move on to the San Francisco 49ers in the NFC Championship game.
Instead, we're talking about, where down south do you go to go play the opening postseason game, and you should beat that team. You know you're going to go to Tampa Bay, and maybe you should beat the Buccaneers again. Or you're going to go down and play, Saints, whatever it ends up being for you. You should win it, but we're going to be talking about a team that has to go on the road. We saw the last game at the Link already. That's it.
Yeah, and what a lot of people realized on Sunday, and I didn't realize it until people tweeted out about it, could be the last game at the Link for Jason Kelsey, Brandon Graham, hell, Lane Johnson, who knows? Let's go to the phones as we await Brian Johnson. Let's go to Tom and Malvern. Tom, you're on The Fanatic.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, Tom.
So, you were just talking a couple minutes ago about how the Eagles defense has no star players, right? They got Reddick, and they got a couple of guys. But I'm thinking about this defensive line, and none of these guys, in theory, should stink. Right? Like Jordan Davis, he's a role player. Call him what you want. Dan Carter's young.
Yeah, I don't think they stink, but you're now relying on a second-year player and a rookie who have probably reached their rookie or second-year player walls because they've never played this much football. And Jordan Davis last year played 25% of the snaps, so he's playing more snaps this year. Even
so, you would think like none of these guys should be giving up 7-yard clips to James Conner. You know what I mean? Like the coaching should be able to do something with these guys that you're calling role players. So you talk about you don't want to blame the Eagles defense, but I put it completely on the defense and on the coaching of defense specifically, that they can't use these guys to stop mediocre players like Conner.
Yeah, mediocre players averaging 5 yards a carry this year, right? Like he's actually having a very good season for the Arizona Cardinals, but I think Jalen Carter has played his limit of snaps at this point, and maybe this next week he doesn't play as much, and hopefully he gets rested come playoff time. Tom, I'm not 100% sure how that works, but I mean, other than you're talking about Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis, I think Hassan Reddick is a star player. And then who? Like who else is a star player on this defense? You have a lot of guys who are kind of just that. They're kind of just guys, and I think Jalen Carter's going to get better. Like I don't think who we've seen so far this year that he's reached his ceiling. Like I think he's going to get better. It's just he's a rookie. You're relying too much on a rookie.
No, I understand what you're saying there, but my feeling is the rotation of those guys, they should be good enough to, from a coaching perspective, with the players they got, to not allow that to happen. 100-yard game, 7-yard clip to James Conner is just unacceptable.
I understand, Tom. I understand. And look, coaching's a big problem, and I appreciate the call. Coaching is a big problem with this team. But at the same time, man, I can't. All right, so you have Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, who you're relying way too much. Tom's relying on those two guys way too much. You have Josh Sweat. You have Hassan Reddick. Let's just go with those four guys. Sometimes it's not always about, tackling the player when you're the first guy to make the it's the next guy, right? Sometimes you just slow him down for the next guy to make the play. You're relying on Shaq Leonard, who was released by his team earlier this year. You're relying on Zach Cunningham, who's not been healthy. You were relying on Nakobe Dean, who we'll see what this guy's made of moving forward. You're relying on Nicholas Moreau. I mean, think about that for a second. The next level, the guys that are also supposed to make the tackles before James Conner gets his 5, 6, 7 yards of carry, they're not talented. We keep on saying, I joke around. Best Cunningham Eagles franchise history, Zach Cunningham, right? We're talking about how much they miss Zach Cunningham. That's a problem. That's a problem when the defense is missing Zach Cunningham. And this is coming from a Zach Cunningham fan. I've been really the guy that in this entire city that's been, praising my man, ZC. But when he's out, look at who you're relying on.
Even when he's in, look at who you're relying on.
Right.
This is the conversation we've gotten into. We've gotten into a conversation about Zach Cunningham, the best linebacker among Zach Cunningham, Nicholas Morrow, Ben Van Sumeren, Shaq Leonard. Nakobe Dean's been out now for a while. And even you mentioned Carter and Davis, and have they played have they played up the number of snaps that you would expect this season? You weren't guaranteed. When Hargrave walks, you weren't guaranteed to get Jalen Carter. It wasn't oh, yeah, that's absolutely going to happen. Hargrave walks, it's okay, Milton Williams is going to be the next guy. Do you trust him enough? Are you going to have him be the guy? They have not had a rotation of guys that, they really expected. You knew Fletcher Cox was going to age another year. You knew that was going to happen. So what? Milton Williams was supposed to step into that bigger role? Well, now Carter's hit a bit of a wall. Davis is what he is. And okay, who else is there? I see Ojomo. Who are you starting to play? Who are you starting to get in there that has the impact that you need against the run right now? And it just feels like there's no juice to it. They got manhandled by the Cardinals.
Yeah, they did. I mean, that was the tougher team between the two. I mean, that was just, we talk about run the ball all the time. That's what they did. And they just ran it down their throats the entire game.
And that's part of the reason why today we could be frustrated. And I think frustration starts the first drive, the fact they go 3 and out when it's 3rd and 2. And if you play the whole, it's 3rd and 9 or 1st and 9 every time we get the ball, how are you not going to pick up a 3rd and 2? But that's whatever. Fine.
Yeah.
We get frustrated with that, and you get frustrated with what the offense did at the end because it makes no sense. But over 4 quarters of play, I look at that defense, and it's like you can't get one. You can't give me one. The one stop you get ends up being because there was a clear miscommunication between Kyler Murray.
It was the Brett Favre throw in the NFC Championship.
And he's throwing to his versions of James Thrash right now. Like that. Like there was a miscommunication between Kyler Murray and one of his receivers that, let's be honest, in the grand scheme of this thing, Murray was really successful when he had Hopkins, when he had Fitzgerald, and now he's throwing to basically what Carson Wentz was.
Greg Dortch, Trey McBride, Michael Wilson.
Let's save the Trey McBride. Trey McBride's going to be good. Let's save the slander on him. The rest of them, forget it. Rondell Moore, pew, pew, pew. Like, that's who he's throwing to, okay? Yeah. He's throwing to nobody. He throws into the middle of space, and Sidney Brown ends up picking it off, taking it back. That's your big, one big play. That's your one big stop. How you are unable to stop them like that is going to bother me for not days, not weeks, months.
Yep.
Until probably next Labor Day.
Yeah, absolutely. Till we start all over again. All right, so Brian Johnson's still not talking to the media. He's behind schedule, just like his play calling sometimes is behind schedule. So that's just awesome. So here's what we're going to do. If he does end up speaking during the break, if you could just roll on it, Ray, and then we'll play it next segment, or hopefully he's starting next segment and he's live. But we're going to hear from Brian Johnson, who I don't know if he has any answers, because clearly on the field they don't. Talk more about that next. Would love to hear from you. Is Nick Sirianni on the hot seat for you? Was one of the questions we brought up. Would love to get your answer on that. 610-632-0975. Andrew South Jr. It's the Midday Show right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. The NFL regular season is wrapping up, but there's still time to get on all the action with FanDuel in partnership with Valley Forge, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. It's $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. The app is super easy to use. There's so many different ways to bet, like same-game parlays. You can find bets in the new Explore tab. You can try to build a parlay in the Parlay Hub, the best way to find popular parlays, and so much more. And here's what I always suggest. Use that $5 bet on something with major odds, right? Big odds that you think, there's no way this is going to hit. Well, if it does, well, that's awesome. You just won a lot of money. And if it doesn't, well, you still have $150 in bonus bets to use and start making some money. So visit FanDuel.com/Fanatic. That's FanDuel.com/Fanatic and make your first bet a touchdown. FanDuel, the official partner of the NFL. You got to be 21 plus and present in PA. First online real money wager, only $5, $10 first deposit required. Bonus issues, not trouble bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Happy New Year. Everybody lost. I'm Ray Dunn. This update is brought to you by Bradford White Water Heaters. When you need new water heater, choose one that is built to be the best. Choose Bradford White. Eagles collapsed against the Cardinals over the weekend. Birds squandered a 15-point halftime lead and surrendered 29 second-half points in a 35-31 loss to the Arizona Cardinals on Sunday. Cardinals ran for 221 yards, gained 449 yards of offense, and held the ball for nearly 40 minutes of game time. The Eagles became the first team in NFL history to start 10-1 and lose 4 of their next 5 games. Now they sit in 5th place in the NFC, and Dallas can win the NFC East with a win on Sunday against the Commanders. Jeff McClain joined the show earlier to talk about all things Eagles and the mess that this month of December was for them. You can catch that conversation one more time at 97.5thefanatic.com. 76ers, well, they also lost over the weekend. The team can't figure out how to play the Bulls right now. They fall 105-92 on Saturday night to Chicago. Since the start of December, the Sixers have lost just 4 games. 2 of them have been to the Bulls. And hey, tonight, the Sixers host the Bulls at 7 o'clock. Catch the live call right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. Flyers, they also fell. They fell to the Flames 4-3 on Sunday night, their 4th loss in 5 games. Their road trip ends in Edmonton tonight against the Oilers at 9 o'clock. Catch that game on WMMR. This update's also brought to you by Mattress Firm. A new year calls for a better bed at Mattress Firm's once-a-year sale and clearance. Save up to 60% on select mattresses. The right mattress matters, and Mattress Firm will find yours. Keep it locked here for all the latest news and information. I'm Ray Dunn on 97.5 The Fanatic.
The Philadelphia 76ers play here. Every game, home and away. We'll have the play-by-play tonight. Presented by Corona, official partner of the 76ers, the Phila Cerveza. This is the exclusive home for Sixers basketball. 97.5 The Fanatic.
In order for small businesses to thrive, they need to be smart, efficient, savvy, staying ahead of the market at every turn, finding ways to do more with less, and taking advantage of every opportunity that comes their way. That's why Comcast Business is introducing the Small Business Bonus. For a limited time, you can get up to a $1,000 prepaid card with a qualifying gig bundle when you switch to Comcast Business, the company with the largest, fastest, reliable network. Yep, You heard that right. 1,000 back. Something extra for your company. From the company that powers more businesses than anyone else. So if you're a small business owner, don't wait. Call or go online to learn about the $1,000 bonus today. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Ends 2/21/24. New customers with Gigabit Extra Internet, Security Edge, One Voice Mobility Line, and Connection Pro with 3-year agreement. Other restrictions apply. Call or go online for details.
Hey, it's John Kincaid, host of The John Kincaid Show and 3-time cancer survivor. I want to thank all of you who have joined me in supporting life-saving cancer research by donating at aacr.org/fanatic. And to our generous corporate partners, thank you for stepping up and supporting the AACR, the official charity of The John Kincaid Morning Show.
Pierce Phelps Bryant Heating and Air Conditioning Contractors will do whatever it takes to keep you comfortable this season. For flexible spending options on a new HVAC system, visit nopaybryant.com. With over 1,500 windows to choose from, Window Nation can outfit any home. Call 866-90Nation or visit windownation.com. For 24-hour emergency service on your HVAC system and home comfort you can count on, visit carneyallseasons.com.
Donations to the American Association for Cancer Research from our listeners and corporate partners add up to big breakthroughs that benefit cancer patients worldwide. Why don't you join me and make a life-saving donation today at aacr.org/fanatic.
If you're looking to get a new car, you could really cut expenses by bundling your car and renter's insurance with Progressive. Sure, you love your old car, but you know it's not normal to give instructions on how to open the window. It should be self-explanatory, but it's not. And notice how when you're in other people's cars, you can feel cushion in the seats? That's pretty nice, right? No, it's just normal. So bundle your renter's and car insurance with Progressive and put the savings toward a new car. It's time. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company. Coverage provided and serviced by affiliates and third-party insurers. Not available in all states.
Nothing slows my little girl down, except a stuffy nose. Mommy. That's why I use Sinex Children's Saline from Vicks. Sinex instantly clears mucus in everyday stuffy little noses with a gentle, ultra-fine mist designed for kids. Just Sinex? Breathe. Her stuffy nose is gone for now. And so is she.
Sinex Children's Saline. Sinex, breathe. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Don't miss head coach Adam Fisher and Temple men's basketball battle Wichita State this Sunday at 1 p.m. at the Liacouras Center. Tickets for kids on game day are only $10. Visit owlstix.com.
By now, you've heard all of our ads. America's largest injury law firm. It means that when you hire us, you get a legal army. When it comes to law, size matters. Morgan & Morgan. Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Hey guys, Andrew, inviting you to join me for 3 days in sunny Clearwater for the spring training trip of a lifetime with Philly Sports Trips. Oh, I love this. We had a blast last year, so get your deposit in now and reserve your seats. We're staying at the beautiful AC Hotel in Clearwater, heated pool, beautiful beach, and center of the action with a direct flight on Friday from frigid Philly to the first of 2 that night. 2 games, 3 days, and back home on Monday. This is the spring training weekend you can't miss. Go to phillysportstrips.com now and reserve your spot with a small deposit. phillysportstrips.com.
Hey, it's number 59, Seth joining Birds Football. Best time of the year. Bet Parks is the official casino and sportsbook app I recommend. Join me and download the Bet Parks app right now. When you open the Bet Parks app, you're in the zone. Winning is always a rush, but the money is in the moment. The anticipation of another face card, the thrill of an extra spin, and the joy of a jackpot. It's all your favorite games at your fingertips. Get up to $1,000 casino bonus back if you're down in the first 24 hours. You play for fun. You love to win. You bet. Bet Parks.
Must be 21 in NBA, New Jersey, Ohio, Maryland. Gambling problem. 1-800-GAMBLER.
No matter what the weather, most of us need to get on the road every day and get going. So we need tires to depend on in any condition. No one understands that better than the dependable people at Mavis Discount Tire. At Mavis, we believe nothing builds more confidence while driving than having the right tires at the right price, so you can confidently handle the road ahead. Roll in for $200 off select sets of 4 Goodyear tires. Visit us at mavis.com.
In a world of division, we bring people together. 97.5 The Fanatic.
$12:20, 97.5 The Fanatic. I'm Andrew Salchunas. It's the Midday Show here on 97.5 The Fanatic. Brian Johnson not speaking yet. Matt Patricia is currently speaking to the media, and he says we got to do a better job. Run defense isn't good enough. No, it's not. And I don't want it to seem like I'm giving the defense a pass. All right? I just think the defense stinks. And I don't think the defense is going to get better. Yeah, the Eagles did end up putting up 24 points on offense. Jalen Hurts did throw 3 touchdown passes. They did get Julio Jones involved. I get all this kind of stuff. But the Eagles' offense has talent. The Eagles' defense does not. So then that leads to the next conversation about Howie Roseman. I know the Best Show Ever has been talking about this a lot. Howie Roseman not paying any attention to the linebackers. And I don't know if this is Howie Roseman. Look, I don't hide it. I'm not a Reed Blankenship fan, right? I think he's a nice story. I think he might be a nice complimentary player. And he was your number 1 safety to start the season with Terrell Edmonds, Sidney Brown, Justin Evans. It's terrible. And then they bring in Kevin Byard, who, by the way, Byard's been a major disappointment. It's been a major disappointment. I saw somebody tweet this out. So after the game, Byard was talking about how they just didn't play well enough and blah, blah, blah. And somebody pointed out, man, this guy just talks a lot. He does. Like, I know, look, I give him credit. He seems to be the veteran that came in and said, I'll handle the media. But, man, he's just there hasn't been except for the Chiefs game where he locked down Travis Kelce. Have you felt good about Kevin Byard at all?
No.
And that was supposed to be one of the other saving graces was, all right, you got Byard. You brought in the safety that you desperately needed. But it was another guy who was aging. And that's the thing. Look, like, what did you expect much more? I guess I expected a little bit more out of him. Since he's gotten here, the defense has been awful. Worse than what it was before he got. I'm not saying he got here, all of a sudden the defense got worse, but it was worse. It's gotten worse since he's gotten here. And so I can't just sit here and blame Matt Patricia I still don't think Sean Desai should have been fired. I really don't. I don't think there was just an answer for anyone. And so you bring in the new voice and Matt Patricia, and maybe it's doing things differently. I talked about this during the pregame show when I thought the Eagles would beat the Cardinals handedly. And, even though we'd say it was just the Cardinals, at least a blowout win would be better than a loss, which they lost. I thought, all right, maybe with Matt Patricia, he is an experienced defensive coordinator. Maybe he just calls things at the right time as opposed to Sean Desai. You can't completely change your defensive philosophy this late into the season. But, man, all of a sudden we're dropping Hassan Reddick back in coverage. When you already aren't getting home to the quarterback, you're dropping him in coverage. What is that doing for you? What is dropping Hassan Reddick in coverage going to do for you? Might give a different look for the quarterback and maybe he makes a mistake? That really seemed to work. Kyler Murray's 25-31, throws 3 touchdown passes. And probably would have thrown for 4 if there wasn't the miscommunication. That had nothing to do with the defense. And that's one of the only reasons why you were winning at one point was that pick 6 by Sidney Brown. So I'm not giving the defense a pass today. It's just I don't really think there's much to talk about when it comes to the defense. Here's Nick Sirianni talking about dropping Hassan Reddick back in coverage.
Again, you're trying to not be predictable in different fronts that you're in. I know when we see somebody that's predictable in anything, right, that we try to take advantage of that. And so you're trying not to be predictable. But, hey, we know he gets paid to rush the passer, and he's really good at it. But, again, if, the predictability, quarterback's going to get it out even quicker if he knows exactly what's happening.
So what do you expect? Are you expecting Hassan Reddick to drop back and intercept the pass? Seriously, how did that work when he played for the Cardinals? It didn't. It didn't. People thought he was a first-round bust when he was dropping back in coverage with the Arizona Cardinals. This was, 5-6 years? This wasn't that long ago. He was drafted here in Philadelphia. So that was the 2017 NFL draft, 7 years ago, 6 seasons ago. Wasn't that long ago where him dropping back in coverage almost led him to being considered a first-round bust. And then Matt Rule says, I got an idea. Let me pick him up. When he was with the coach of the Panthers, of course, he was the coach of Hassan Reddick at Temple. I'm going to have him rush the quarterback. And his career was saved. And in a defense that's just been terrible, he's one of the guys that still has some sort of production. Not much. He's been quiet recently, too. But at least you have some production out of Hassan Reddick. and you're dropping them back in coverage. You're worried about the predictability of the defense when you have anonymous sources in your team, on your team, talking about the predictability of the offense. But your answer is going to be, let's drop Hassan Reddick back in coverage. I know you're trying to find anything that will work, so I give them credit, I guess, for trying to find anything. I don't think there is anything. I think you have to hope that you can make one or two plays throughout an entire game, and then you rely on your offense the rest of the way. So is Nick Sirianni on the hot seat for you? Let's talk about that a little bit. 610-632-0975. I said it earlier. I'll say it again. I'm not firing him after this season. I'm not. I don't want constant turnover. I don't want constant change. He does need to figure something out, though. Like, he's going to need to, they do the whole look in the mirror thing. He's got to find answers, and he's got to adjust. I think that's been the biggest beef of mine with Sirianni and this team. There hasn't been an adjustment to the league adjusting to the Eagles. There has been turnover on the defense. They lost 5 starters, right? This offense is the same. What's different about this Eagles offense compared to last year's offense? All right, so Cam Jurgens is your right guard and not Isaac Seumalo. Olamide Zaccheaus was your third wide receiver until you brought in Julio Jones. Last year was Zach Pascal. DeAndre Swift is your lead back and is better than what you had last year in Miles Sanders. The league adjusted to what the Eagles have been doing this year. We've been talking about them attacking the zone read a little bit different, even though it looked pretty good against the Giants, but maybe that was just the Giants. The league adjusted to the Eagles' offense. And the Eagles have not made an adjustment since. What have they done differently? In the 4 out of the last 5 weeks, what have they done differently? All right, so they did some pistol against the Giants. Awesome. And it worked. DeAndre Swift had a good day on the ground. They went back to the zone read after going away from it a little bit. Has this Eagles, I know Jeff McClain was on earlier today and said they did some creative things in the first half. They did. And then they once again went away from it. I don't know what the deal is with this offense.
Gainwell threw a pass.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. Like that. But, I mean, I think, again, the first half, to me, it did seem like the offense had the juice to it. You know, again, that first drive. I only talk about that first drive more in frustration of the fact of what happens later in the game, because you start looking at every little thing differently. If I know in that 3rd and 2 that the defense wasn't going to get one singular stop, save a pick six,
right?
I'd be more frustrated about that than I was in the moment of it happening. The Devontae drop, that one looms large when you think about so I think it's so big in that moment what we watched, that 3rd and 20, the 1st and 20 to the 3rd and 20 to the play call, to the miscommunication, the confusion, and rightfully be livid about that. But should the margin of error be so razor thin against a 3-12 team?
No.
Should we be talking about 3 play calls late in the game, like a game that you were up 15 points at home on a 3-12 team? That's the incredible part about all of this for me is, again, they didn't find one stop. They just didn't.
No, they couldn't.
They could not get them off the field. They could not get the 3-12, now 4-12, but 3-12 Cardinals off the field. So the frustration with the offense, I think there's a well-placed beef with it, because again, I think now they've been outscored in the 3rd quarter of the last 2 weeks, some ridiculous amount.
Yes.
And it's like, yeah, there's frustration there, and I'm just as upset as you are with it in that regard. And I understand the way you feel about the defense. Can we really fix it?
That's my biggest thing. Like, I don't think there is fixing. Like, I need to rely on the offense.
But fixing, like, again, I remember when the move was made and everyone that hated Desai thought it was all Desai's fault. Like, well, it can't get any worse.
Which I thought was unfair.
But, yeah, people, it can't get any worse. I don't know, man. Like, not forcing the Cardinals to punt, I think that's worse. I think we hit you thought rock bottom was that stretch between the 49ers and Cowboys in terms of defense for you. I think this is rock bottom right now.
Yeah, it might be. It might be. And so I'm just looking at the drive chart. Cardinals first drive, 14 yards, or 14 plays, 7 minutes and 46 seconds, just bleeding clock. They get a field goal. their next drive. A 20-play drive. 20-play drive, man. 9 minutes and 54 seconds. Unbelievable. Which led to a field goal. Then they end the half, 3 plays, and then they start the third quarter, the second half. 12-play drive, 75 yards for a touchdown, 6 minutes and 18 seconds. I mean, they were just killing clock, and that's because James Conner couldn't get stopped. I mean, they're just killing time. And then an 11-play, 48-yard drive, 4 minutes and 29 seconds, and then the 9-play drive where they go down the field, 70 yards in 2 minutes.
And to me, there's so much, like they talk, again, this Sirianni clip, and the reason I love to play it just because he's floundering. You can tell he's floundering here because he talks about
he's got no answer.
Predictability. You put that 5-man front out there, the Cardinals are well aware of the idea of, well, you know what? Whatever happens after this play, if we just get back to line, we don't allow the Eagles to substitute, we're going to have an attack here in the passing game. We're going to be able to get after him this. So you either try and go to the 5-man front to stop the run, which you haven't been able to do, or they're going to force you back into a 4-man front because you've got to get an off-ball linebacker that can guard, that can actually cover someone. And you lose that chess match. You lose that game partially because of personnel, partially because you can't scheme up a stop. You can't get me one. That's all. You really needed one. It's so ironic we're talking about just needing one stop in a game that was against Jonathan Gannon.
Against the Arizona Cardinals.
But Gannon out-coached, out-maneuvered, outsmarted, whatever you want. His coaching staff outdid Sirianni and laps around them.
He did. They pantsed the Eagles.
The onside kick, too.
It was a smart decision.
It was, you know what? We'll see if I don't know if he banked on them necessarily having to settle for the field goal.
No, absolutely not. He was like, all right, let me give myself more time to score. And you know what? The Eagles should have scored a touchdown. Instead, it's 1st and 20, and they run a quarterback run. And that's aggressive, according to Nick Sirianni.
Because you know what? They go down and score a touchdown. Gannon gets the ball back. They go down and score a touchdown. He goes for 2. They win the game. They get out of there.
Yeah, maybe.
I think that's honestly the way he looked at it. And he's spit in your face now like 3 times since he left here. And the most egregious of them all is the one where he comes and outcoaches you. He outdoes you at home with a 3-12 team.
It's unbelievable. 610-632-0975. Now, I just realized that today's Tuesday because we were off yesterday. So we got to get to the NFL.com power rankings later on. We'll get to the phones. But right now, here's offensive coordinator Brian Johnson.
It's not great. We ended up getting to the play, that we wanted to, but something that you obviously don't want to do.
Brian, can you take us into the sequence after the penalty to back you up to 1st and 20?
For sure. Yeah.
Those 3 plays and why you called them in the game.
Yeah. So, when you get in those type of 4-minute situations, there's 3 different things that you're managing at that point. I think the first is obviously down and distance. You're managing the clock. Obviously, you don't want to try to give them the ball back. And then you're managing the kick line. So, all three of those things really come into play. So, the first down, we get 4, 2nd and 16. Buddha makes a fantastic play. It was a play that had a chance to be really, really big and be a big hit. Credit to Buddha Baker. He made a fantastic play on that particular play. And then, what ends up happening is now you lose 4 yards, and so you're 3rd and 20, right? So the priorities of what you're trying to manage really change, like, each play throughout that sequence. So now you get yourself into a 3rd and 20, and, you want to put yourself in a position to score points because that's not obviously an area on the field where you're going to punt the ball. And with the way the wind was in that stadium on that side, we had to get to the kick line. So that was the 3rd and 20. It obviously has multiple options on that play call. If you get a pressure look, that's what we were going to. And if we didn't get a pressure look, then the play would have been something else. So, the guys executed, what we tried to do. Unfortunately, just weren't able to get it done.
Is there any validity to the argument that maybe that's just overthinking, like worrying about all those things where it's, you just operate the offense, utilizing your best players, getting it to A.J. Brown, just trying to attack and score?
Yeah, I think anytime something doesn't work, obviously, I think that's a very normal and natural reaction. So, but, I think we've played situations like that very, very similar when you talk about 3rd and super long in field goal range close to the line. That happens. But to answer your question, anytime that something does not work, and obviously you kind of go reassess and be as critical as possible and say, I wish, or maybe we could have, or I could have done something different. And maybe that would have worked and maybe it wouldn't have, but I think that's the nature of the game that we play.
Second and 16, you mentioned clock management in terms of perhaps yielding a longer third down with a run in that situation. How much were you balancing the clock versus gaining substantial yardage there to make a easier third down?
Yeah, it's both, right? I mean, that was a play we've run over the last couple of weeks for some really explosive runs. It was at a 15-yarder, had a 10-yarder earlier in the game on a very similar play. So, that one, with those guys in that situation, second and 16, you try to catch them off guard playing with a second and pass call and see if you can pop one and get some yardage to get you into a safe spot to where you can go be super aggressive on third down once you're in comfortable field goal range. And, we ended up losing 4, and that kind of just changed the mode and the mindset for the third down play.
Why wasn't A.J. more involved in the second half? Why wasn't A.J. more involved in the second half?
Yeah, I mean, we didn't run a whole bunch of plays. He had, I don't know, it was one catch. Yeah, so, he had one catch in the second half. I don't remember exactly every single pass that we ran in the second half. But, A.J.'s a great player, and we gotta force him the ball sometimes and make sure to get him going.
When you talk about the kick line on that third and 19 or whatever it was, you were, I think, at the 30 at that point, so you're still within Jake's range. Of course, at that spot, it'd be a little more difficult kick than you get a few yards there. But is the conservative call there more about the fear of taking a sack in that situation?
Yeah, well, you really, like a sack right there, effectively gives you 0 points probably in that case. So, yeah, you want to give yourself the opportunity to score points. And, when you have those third and super long situations, they all play very, very differently. I think, for example, you take a look at a couple weeks ago, we had a 3rd and 20. And we called a go route. But, I mean, the ball was just in a completely different area of the field with a different circumstance in terms of how to manage the game. So, points are obviously at a premium at that point, and, that was the direction.
Is Nick in your ear telling you whether to be aggressive or conservative there?
We have constant communication in terms of the game management and, how we want to execute different scenarios and different outcomes that come throughout the course of the game, whether that's 2 minutes, 4 minutes, all these different situations that pop up. It takes everybody in terms of all of these different clock managements and situations that come up throughout the course of the game.
So what was his message to you there?
What was Nick's message? Yeah, ultimately, like before we got the penalty, it was, we wanted to try to score. And, on the 3rd and 20, like, we're trying to make sure that we can ensure some points and get a field goal and not put ourselves in a situation where we lose yardage. And, you have something safe that's going to get completed and that's going to be, a decent play versus whatever looks they show.
You mentioned A.J. It wasn't just, his numbers have been down for 5 or 6 weeks now. What do you see in there? And you talk about forcing it to him. How do you balance, whether you need to force it or just run the offense?
Yeah, A.J.'s a fantastic player. And, he demands a lot of attention defensively. He's had a fantastic year to this point. I think he's still on pace to have, a career year. So A.J. is somebody that obviously everybody in this building has a lot of trust, a lot of respect for. And we got to do a great job of getting the ball. I have to do a great job of getting him the ball.
How much does the second half game plan change when it goes from 21-6 to 21-14? And again, whenever your time is diminishing and as the game's going on that way?
Well, the game plan really didn't change much. It's always about us and our execution and what we do. So unfortunately, what ended up happening, we had a 3-and-out in that first drive. And, we had a 3rd and 6, and we ended up not converting. And, you get the ball back, and it's 21-21, and you go down and score it. But, I think just our mentality and our mindset, nothing really changed for us in terms of the second half of how we wanted to attack, how we wanted to move the ball, and how we wanted to execute.
Brian, going back to that second to last drive, you talked about the desire to get points there, regardless of if you're settling for a field goal. To that point in the game, the defense had conceded 3 straight touchdowns in the second half. Why didn't the defense's play that day factor into your decision in not trying to go for a touchdown?
Yeah, I don't know if I can answer that question for you. I don't know if I can answer that question, but for us offensively, in terms of the situation and what we were trying to accomplish, that was the mode that we were in offensively.
Just in general, Brian, in high leverage situations, not in this game, just any game. From your perspective, you're always trying to get the ball to A.J. Devontae Dallas. Nick tells us that all the time. But is there more of an impetus to get the playmakers, the big-time playmakers involved in those high leverage situations?
Yeah, for sure. But I also think that all of those guys are more than capable. And, we always talk about the play doesn't care who makes it. And, we got a lot of guys on this team that can make plays and that have made plays throughout the course of their career and throughout the course of their time here. And we have a lot of faith and confidence and trust in all 11 guys out there. And when you do get in those high leverage situations, guys are ready and willing to go out there and handle business and make plays when their number's called.
First drive of the game, 3rd and 2. What were you trying to do there? And because the thought of just trying to maybe control the clock yourselves and use your running game there, go into it.
Yeah, all of those 3rd and 2s are very very unique in terms of those guys and knowing a little bit of what what our mode is on some of those 3rd and 2s and just based on that field position, we felt like I felt like it was a chance for us to potentially get an explosive play and create a chunk. So, again, when it doesn't work, like obviously I'll accept that and move forward and continue to try to put our guys in the best position possible.
All right, there's offensive coordinator Brian Johnson. Can I tell you something? I'm freaking exhausted after listening to that. I'm so uninspired. This team has no shot. Because he's still okay with the call in 2nd and 16. He's still okay with it. He chalked it up to Budda Baker making a good play. He did a designed quarterback run on 2nd and 16 to the outside so that he hoped they could get to a manageable 3rd down. I'm so uninspired that he is still okay with it. Nick Sirianni changed his tune and said, yeah, it probably wasn't as aggressive as we should have done. Brian Johnson's still okay with it. I took a lot of notes during that press conference, and we'll go through it next. Some stuff that I called before I even said it. Wow. Love to talk to you about it. 610-632-0975. Dead man walking this team. Talk about it more next right here. 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
A weekend full of losses. I'm Ray Dunn. This update is brought to you by Pennsylvania Health Insurance Exchange Marketplace. Get the lowest cost on high-quality health coverage now through Penny PA's Health Insurance Marketplace. You're worth protecting. Enroll by January 19th at penny.com. Paid for it with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars. The Eagles collapsed against the Cardinals. The Birds squandered a 15-point halftime lead and surrendered 29 second-half points in a 35-31 loss to the Cardinals on Sunday. Cardinals ran for 221 yards, gained 449 yards of offense, held the ball for nearly 40 minutes of game time. Eagles became the first team in NFL history to start 10-1 and then lose 4 of their next 5 games. Now they sit in 5th place in the NFC. Dallas can win the NFC East with a win on Sunday against the Commanders. Jeff McClain joined the show earlier to talk all things Birds. You catch that conversation one more time at 97.5thefanatic.com. 76ers also lost over the weekend. This team can't figure out how to beat the Bulls of all teams, falling 105-92 on Saturday night. Since the start of December, the Sixers have lost just 4 games. 2 of them have been against the Bulls. Oh, by the way, Sixers host the Bulls tonight at 7. Catch the live call right here, 97.5 The Fanatic. Flyers fell to the Flames 4-3 on Sunday night. Their 4th loss in 5 games. Their road trip ends in Edmonton tonight against the Oilers at 9 o'clock. Catch that game on WMMR. Keep it locked here for all the latest news and information. I'm Ray Dunn on the home for the Sixers and Flyers, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Philadelphia 76ers basketball. The games are here.
Outlet Harris. Harris on the move. Gets by one man down the lane. A 2-hand slam. Tobias Harris into the paint, and he stuffs it.
97.5 The Fanatic.
Hey, it's Jen Scordo. The NFL regular season is wrapping up, but there's still time to get in on all the action with FanDuel in partnership with Valley Forge, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $150 in bonus bets, win or lose, for $5. The app is so easy to use, and there are so many different ways to bet, like live same-game parlays, or you can find bets in the new Explore tab. Try to make a parlay in the Parlay Hub, the best way to find popular parlays, and so much more. Pick your favorite team to win on the spread. Pick a wide receiver to go over on receiving yards, on your favorite tight end to score first, and maybe a quarterback to score an anytime touchdown. It can all happen in that Parlay Hub. So visit FanDuel.com/Scordo. That's FanDuel.com/Scordo and make your first bet a touchdown. FanDuel, the official partner of the NFL.
21 plus and present PA. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
I've been asked 1,000 times, did you plan on becoming the largest injury law firm in the world? And the answer is no. When I started, there were just 2 of us. Today, Morgan & Morgan has almost 800 lawyers alone. No injury firm in the country has anywhere close to that. We set out to be focused on our clients and to have a commitment to trying cases and winning. And when you have those results at trial, you're able to settle most of your cases quickly and fairly. Reputation matters. We grew like this because we worked hard, and so many former clients referred family and friends. And what I believe is the main reason is we delivered for our clients a lot. Hard work and client satisfaction was our plan. It worked. Hope is not a plan. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Paid for by government.com.
The 1878 to 1921 Morgan Silver Dollar, a true American classic and one of the most iconic silver dollar coins in history. It's been 100 years since the last Morgan Silver Dollar coin was struck for circulation. And now, for a limited time only, full pound bags of original U.S. government struck Morgan dollars are being released to the public. That's right, you can own a full pound of 1878 to 1921 classic American Morgan Silver Dollar coins, all in very good collector condition with fully visible dates and mint marks, guaranteed. Call 1-800-473-0864 now to secure collector-grade U.S. Morgan silver dollars by the pound, struck during the Wild West and the Gilded Age. Plus, receive a bonus American Collector's Pack valued at over $25, free with every order. Call 1-800-473-0864 now to secure your full pound bag of Morgan silver dollar coins before they are gone. 1-800-473-0864. That's 1-800-473-0864.
Nothing slows my little girl down, except a stuffy nose.
Mommy.
That's why I use Sinex Children's Saline from Vicks. Sinex instantly clears mucus in everyday stuffy little noses with a gentle, ultra-fine mist designed for kids. Just Sinex? Breathe. Her stuffy nose is gone for now. And so is she.
Sinex Children's Saline. Sinex, breathe. Use as directed, keep out of reach of children.
What's holding you back from learning the language you've always wanted to know?
Too hard.
Takes too long.
Not with Babbel. Babbel's lessons take just 15 minutes a day.
15 minutes isn't long.
Nope, and they're fun. So you don't realize you're learning a language, but you are. In 3 weeks, you're able to start having conversations. And Babbel's lessons are built around real life.
And with Babbel, it isn't hard.
It's perfect.
Start learning a new language today. Go to Babbel.com. That's BABBEL.com.
Did you know that futzing with your thermostat accounts for up to 1/3 of your energy bill? Those little adjustments add up fast. You know what else adds up fast? The federal tax credits of up to $2,000, local utility rebates on new high-efficiency systems, and PICO rebates of up to $650 on qualifying gas furnaces. See dealer for details. Visit Train.com to find an independent Delaware Valley train comfort specialist near you. It's hard to stop a train.
Your floors can go from clean to dirty fast. From juice spills, whoops, to muddy paw prints, to little sticky finger marks. Good thing your Swiffer WetJet works fast too. Swiffer WetJet easily cleans everyday messes as quick as they happen. The next mess is right around the corner. So grab your Swiffer WetJet and just spray, push, all clean.
Drexel Basketball is proud to now be a member of the Philadelphia Big Five, and you're invited to be a part of this historic inaugural season. Join fans from all over Philly as our Drexel Dragons take the court against Division I rivals from across the country right on Market Street in the Daskalaskis Athletic Center. Experience the excitement of Drexel men's and women's basketball in one of the most intimate sporting venues in the city. Don't miss your chance to roar with the Dragons. For tickets, go to drexel.edu/Dragon Tickets.
Guys, football is a game of inches where good penetration is key to making it to the end zone. Same goes for the bedroom. Hi, Dr. Avinan Appel here of Iron Mountain Men's Health. If you're experiencing ED or low testosterone, our team can help with a custom program designed to treat your specific symptoms. That's safe, effective, and affordable. Put your helmet down and smash through the end zone. Schedule a free consultation at ironmountainmenshealth.com. That's ironmountainmenshealth.com, the leader in men's sexual health.
WPEN Burlington, Philadelphia, a Beasley Media Group station. Official home of the Sixers, Flyers, Union, and the best Eagles talk in Philadelphia. 97.5 The Fanatic.
It's 12:52. Midday show, 97.5 The Fanatic. I'm Andrew Salchunas. We'll do the power rankings at 1 o'clock, Ray. It's Tuesday. Normally we do them at 12:30, but we had the Brian Johnson press conference that I needed to air. And I'm not saying I'm glad I aired it because it made me feel better or anything, but I'm just glad I aired it because it proves to me that they have absolutely no answer. And my feelings of dread are true. I should feel dread. It's funny, I was listening to the John Kincaid show earlier this morning, as I do every single day. And I heard John talking about how basically the season's done, right? Now, if I recall a couple weeks ago when the Eagles lost to the Seahawks, that Tuesday morning when I reacted, I said, dead man walking. And then I heard on Wednesday on the John Kincaid show that it's idiotic if anybody thought the season was over after that loss to the Seahawks. Idiotic. I remember him saying, wonder who that was directed to. I'm sure I wasn't the only one thinking that, by the way. But I heard him reach my territory this morning. I heard him say that the season's pretty much done, right? So 2 weeks. It took two more weeks. One more loss. I am curious because earlier in the show, I was reading tweets from a guy named Noah who was really disappointed listening to the show, hearing how doom and gloom I was. And, he kept on trying to push the whole, look, the rest of the league's not that great. Jeff McClain even said it, right? There's not one team that's beyond everybody else. Okay. I just think there are other teams that are still better than the Eagles, and I don't see the Eagles all of a sudden getting right. But I would love to hear from people like Noah who are still believing that this team can get to where we wanted them to get to in the beginning of the season. That's the Super Bowl. They're going to be fine crowd. I don't know what you can still see out of this team from what we've seen 4 out of the last 5 weeks that would make you say they're still going to be fine. Other than still believing that the offense has enough talent in order to win, which they do have the talent. But the play calling at times is atrocious. So we just aired the Brian Johnson press conference. And, of course, he was asked about the 3 plays. And we'll play it and let me know when you have it, Ray. Oh, you have it? All right, just take a listen. Here's his response to the situation that unfolded on that second to last drive after the Cardinals did the onside kick that failed, but it actually worked. Not in terms of recovering the ball, but in terms of having enough time on the clock. Here's Brian Johnson trying to explain those 3 plays where it was the 1st and 20, the 2nd and 16, and the 3rd and 20.
You know, when you get in those type of 4-minute situations, there's 3 different things that you're managing at that point. You know, I think the first is obviously down and distance. You know, you're managing the clock. Obviously, you don't want to try to give them the ball back. And then you're managing the kick line. You know, all three of those things really come into play. So the first down, we get 4, 2nd and 16. You know, Buddha makes a fantastic play, the play that had a chance to be really, really big and be a big hit. Credit to Buddha Baker. He made a fantastic play. And then, you know, what ends up happening is now you lose 4 yards, and so you're 3rd and 20, right? So the priorities of what you're trying to manage really change, like, each play throughout that sequence. So now you get yourself into a 3rd and 20, and, you know, you want to put yourself in a position to score points, because that's not obviously an area on the field where you're going to punt the ball. And with the way the wind was in that stadium on that side, like, we had to get to the kick line. So that was the 3rd and 20. You know, it obviously has multiple options on that play call. If you get a pressure look, that's what we were going to. And if we didn't get a pressure look, then the play would have been something else. So the guys executed, you know, what we tried to do. Unfortunately, just weren't able to get it done.
So, all right, let's break this down. Oh, my God. Like, I'm so uninspired by this, dude. So, first off, he talks about the 3 things they got to focus on. Down and distance. Okay. Managing the clock, which, fine. You don't want to give the Cardinals too much time. Just like earlier in the year, remember they went for the touchdown, the home run ball with A.J. Brown against the Commanders. And then the Commanders had a lot of time, and they drove downfield and scored and kicked the extra point, and then they went to overtime, in which the Eagles won. And then the third one was managing the kick line, which we'll get back to that in a second. So he breaks it all down. You know, the first play, 1st and 20. All right, we got 4 yards. So now it's 2nd and 16. He gives you an answer of there was a chance of a big play there. Can't you say that about any play? I believe I made the right call. There's a chance of a big play. You didn't get a big play. Where was the big play coming? Basically, what he's telling us in that clip is that he is still okay with the 2nd and 16 designed quarterback run that led to a 4-yard loss because Buddha Baker just made a good play. All right, so Buddha Baker misses the tackle. Jalen Hurts is still 4 yards behind the line of scrimmage. What is he going to do? Cut back the other way? Do the 17-second Donovan McNabb scramble and find FedEx down the field? You're just chalking it up to the opposing team making a good play. You're still okay with that 2nd and 16 play call. Mind you, both Brian Johnson and Nick Sirianni said that was aggressive play calling. What's aggressive about a 1st and 20 quarterback run and then a 2nd and 16 quarterback run? What is aggressive about that? Is aggressive now just doing something that you don't the other team might expect or not expect? Is that aggressive? You have freaking A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Dallas Scott on your team, and you're doing 2 quarterback design runs. And then the 3rd and 20. Oh, well, it was a pressure look. So we made the play call after what we saw at the line of scrimmage. So you run the play that's you've ran a million times. Now, I wrote down in my notes. I knew it. Because he then went on later on in the press conference to say, it's worked in the past. I don't care what has worked in the past, dude. You know what teams do? They look up tape. They see what has worked for you in the past. And maybe they start scheming to stop plays that have worked for you in the past, which is why the zone read wasn't as good throughout the majority of this season, because teams expected it after seeing how it worked last year. It's no secret that you run these bubble screens, these wide receiver screens, these flash passes, whatever terminology you want to use. It's all the same. They scheme up against it. Oh, they just made another good play. The Arizona Cardinals, one of the worst-ranked defenses in the NFL, made that many good plays against you, and it's not because of the predictability of your offense. It's not because of the lack of creativity in your offense. So he talks about managing the kick line. I'll be honest, something I didn't even notice because I was just annoyed with the play calling itself. I forget which reporter it was. It might have been Tim McManus, but somebody then brought up later on in the press conference that we just played. You were talking about managing the kick line. You were well inside Jake Elliott's range already. They were already in field goal range. So it's not like, all right, let's try to at least pick up 5 yards to get to field goal range for Jake Elliott. No, they were well into field goal range. Even after the 10-yard loss, which made it 1st and 20, you were still in field goal range, well in field goal range. You have one of the best kickers in the NFL. You're talking about kick lines. Get touchdowns. And of course, he's asked about A.J. Brown multiple times. Oh yeah, we gotta force him the ball. Yeah, no duh, dude. He's still on pace for a record-breaking season. Yeah, he was at 1,000 yards in week 8? He's at 1,400 yards now. His play is not dropped off. It's not like he's dropped off. I know he's dropped a few passes this year. 5 targets, man. 5 targets. And I understand that there wasn't much time on offense because of how much time the Arizona Cardinals took off by controlling the football as much as they did. But 5 targets. Dallas Goedert had more. Devontae Smith had as many. Kenneth Gainwell had 4. Like, come on, man. And then at 3rd and 20, he was asked about it again later on in the press conference. And he said, and I wrote down, that it was a safe play. It's a play he knows will be completed. It's a play he just ends up hoping to get more out of. The safe play that was almost a pick 6 last week? Am I mistaken? Wasn't that always almost intercepted for a touchdown just last week? And then the very next play was the play where Dallas Goedert slipped. I think that was the
sequencing might be wrong there.
Okay, but there was the wide receiver screen again. That whoever it was on the Giants almost had a one-handed interception. Would have been a pick 6.
Yeah, different sequence.
Okay,
wasn't the guy after.
Regardless, the safe play that was almost intercepted for a touchdown just 1 week earlier. 6 days earlier because they played on Monday. 6 days, and you're giving me safe play. The guy had no answers. Couldn't even answer a question. The guy had no answers. It's unbelievable. You get anything from that press conference other than ineptitude and a lack of faith?
Yeah, basically they're playing for a field goal there late.
Yeah, that's basically what he told you.
Points at a premium. They get behind the sticks and it becomes, you know what? We're just going to make sure we get this field goal.
And that's supposed to be aggressive.
Right.
He believes they had an aggressive game plan there.
We want to make sure we get the points here. Want to make sure that we get the points here. With the way the wind was going, we got to make sure we're in a position. We want to make sure we get 3. You know, our defense has played so well today. So great.
Right, that's the other thing.
That it's a great idea that we just go put up the 3 points.
That's a great point, right?
We've done that. We've seen our defense do a fantastic job because the last time, if I remember correctly, that they were so set late, where it was, oh, yeah, we've got the lead against an inferior opponent like this. They were on the road in Seattle, and you know what? It's fine. They can't. They're not going to drive down late and go take the lead like that. No, we haven't seen our defense fall apart late like that recently. No.
And that's why, Ray, as I've said a lot of times, I understand the defense was abysmal. I understand that. I need to rely on the offense to win football games. I need to. And unfortunately, whether it's Sirianni's offense, Brian Johnson's play calling, whoever you want to freaking blame, it's going to change every single week. I need to be able to rely on that offense to win me football games. And they don't. And they realize you're right? They should also know the defense is terrible. That's part of the reason why I'm so dependent on the offense winning them football games. And I got 3rd and 20 safe play. And how many times did you have to, in that one answer about, oh, we've played in situations like this before and it's worked. He said it like 6 times. I don't care that it's worked in the past, dude. You can't always run the same play.
And we're sitting here again a week after in the biggest moment when the game was in the tipping point, when we were questioning where it was going to go, where they literally had a 3rd and 20. And you know who made the play? You know who went beyond the sticks?
Jalen Hurts and
that
A.J.
was your quarterback. What you took out of their hands in 3 straight plays was the ability to actually go about doing that, winning you the game.
A.J. Brown had 1 catch in the second half. Oh, man. Yeah, we got to do a better job getting in the football.
2 quarterback runs and a pass where the air yards probably was negative. Was it right to the line?
We were calling A.J. Brown Terrell Owens earlier this year, right? And how he's on pace to beat some of his records or beat some of his statistics. We see it. I would imagine they know that. I would imagine that he knows his personnel, and he's doing 2 quarterback design runs. Abysmal. I am beat up. I listened to that press conference, and I lost all my energy. The first 2.5 hours of this show, I was just heated. I don't even have heat left. I'm ice cold. I lost all energy. I didn't have much faith to begin with. But when he's still saying today, 2 days later, that he is cool with the play calls that he made on 1st and 20, 2nd and 16, and 3rd and 20. He is doubling down. When Sirianni himself yesterday said that they probably should have been more aggressive. Sirianni realized that they made mistakes. Brian Johnson is still doubling down. And I know there are people that are out there that still have faith, and hey, good for you. I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you can listen to that and go, yeah, they still got this. All right, Ray. Let's run through some power rankings because I can only imagine where the Eagles are at now. We do these every single Tuesday, normally at 12:30, but Brian Johnson, we had to listen to that mess. Power rankings brought to us by who, Ray?
Oh, they're brought to us by Harris Philadelphia. It's the $500,000 football pick'em at Harris Philadelphia. Select your team between 10 a.m. Wednesday through 8 p.m. Thursday at the promotional kiosk and start winning.
And, so let's see if the Eagles are what they were 5th last week. Are they still in the top 5? I imagine not after a loss. Panthers come in dead last, 32. Commanders, 31. New England Patriots drop a spot to 30. Then we move up to 29. The Arizona Cardinals, they move up a spot after their victory on the road against the Philadelphia Eagles. Just unbelievable. Giants at 28, Chargers at 27, Titans at 26, Jets at 25. None of them moved. Those are all the same spots they were in last week. And the Falcons dropped 4 spots to 24. Can't believe that they lost. They still have a chance. Believe it or not, they still have a chance to win that division if they were to beat the Saints this weekend and if the Buccaneers lose to the Panthers, which I don't believe will happen. The Bucs part, that is. But the Falcons fall to 7-9. They're still in the running for a division winner. That shows how bad the NFC South is, and that's why the Eagles should win their first-round playoff matchup. Raiders dropped 2 spots at 23. Broncos remain the same at 22. The Vikings dropped 3 spots to 21. Are they officially out of the playoff picture? No, they are still in the bubble.
I believe it's a 3% chance.
3% chance. So the Vikings have a 3% chance. The Falcons have a 10. Saints 31. And the other bubble team is the Seahawks. They have a 26% chance. The Bears, they climb up 4 spots with their win. They're now 7-9. They're at 20. And the Seahawks, who I just mentioned, they dropped 3 spots to 19, losing to the Pittsburgh Steelers, which continues the streak of Mike Tomlin never finishing below 500 in his career as the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Unbelievable, dude. That guy just keeps on doing it. And that team isn't really good. And that's not his fault. It's just not really good. And they're still in the playoff picture. They have the same record as the Colts, who are the last wild card team right now. Unbelievable. Coming in at number 18 is the Cincinnati Bengals. They drop 4 spots. The Saints climb up 6 to number 17. I had a couple people tweeting at me, hey, look, the Saints are winning. My division parlay also includes the Philadelphia Eagles.
Wah, wah, wah.
The Packers move up 3 spots to 16, so now we're in our top 15. The Steelers, who we just talked about, they come in at number 15. The Bucks drop 4 spots after their loss to the Saints. They're at 14. Minshew Mania, they still have a chance. They're in the playoffs if the season ended today. Gardner Minshew and the Indianapolis Colts coming in number 13. The Jags coming in number 12. They climb up a spot. Ugly game. I mean, they ended up beating the Panthers pretty well. Weird moment where the Panthers owner poured a drink on a fan. Oh, boy.
Time to go.
Has that been addressed yet? I haven't seen anything on social media.
No, I haven't seen it. If it has been, I haven't seen it.
If you haven't seen the video yet, there was the video of the owner of the Panthers pouring a drink on, I don't know if it was a Jags fan or a Panthers fan. I think it was a Jags fan.
Either one does not make it better.
Unbelievable that, geez, you're the owner of a football team. Yeah. Houston Texans coming at number 11. They're now 9-7. So we've reached our top 10. Well, we haven't heard the Eagles yet, so they're still in the top 10. Coming in at number 10. The LA Rams, a team that I'm sure a lot of teams might actually be a little worried to play come playoff time. Dropping 5 spots to number 9, your Philadelphia Eagles. Whew. Now, if you remember, a couple weeks ago, we had a caller on our Overreaction Tuesday say the Eagles aren't even a top 10 team anymore. Well, in terms of the NFL.com power rankings, they're not that far off. They come in at number 9, the Blurb. After beating the Bills in overtime in Week 12, the Eagles stood at 10-1. They had the slight MVP favorite in Jalen Hurts. Their offense and defense had ranked among the top 10 in the NFL at various points in the season. And then December brought an abject collapse, including one tighter than it should have been win over the Giants and 4 losses. The Eagles failed to surpass 19 points scored in 3 of those defeats. They've allowed 51 points in 60 second-half minutes at home versus the Giants and Cardinals over the past 2 weeks. It was utterly bizarre that every time I tuned into the Sunday's loss to Arizona, the Cardinals had the ball. Philly's now coughed up control of the NFC East and must face the reality of having to play on the road in the playoffs, barring something wacky happening in Week 18. Are the Eagles cooked? I won't completely bail, but they're very much on the double secret probation and might be irreparable. This isn't exactly falling, but it's shocking nonetheless. Yeah, it's not getting fixed.
Yeah, national jumped off.
Yeah.
But one thing locally, I played a clip last week, Schefter talking about the Eagles.
Yeah.
I think it was the day you were out last Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, once the national starts hopping off entirely, it's probably not good.
Yeah. They come in at number 9. All right, just to close out the rest, the Chiefs coming in at number 8. The Browns, with Joe Flacco, number 7.
My goodness.
The Bills are back. They're now 6th in the power rankings. The Lions remain at 5. The Dolphins drop a spot to 4. The Cowboys climb up 3 spots to 3. The Niners stay at 2, and the Ravens stay at 1. There's your NFL.com power rankings brought to us by Hooray.
Harris Philadelphia. It's the $500,000 football pick'em at Harris Philadelphia. Select your team between 10 a.m. Wednesday through 8 p.m. Thursday at the promotional kiosk and start winning.
Forgot to mention our 12 o'clock hours brought to us by Service First Heating and Air Conditioning. Get 0% financing for 72 months and a $500 rebate when you purchase a complete heating and cooling system from Service First. Learn more at servicefirstHVAC.com. Thank you, Ray, for helping us out there with the power rankings. We got one segment left. We'll continue talking about just a miserable game. And now I'm completely uninspired. I don't even have energy left after Brian Johnson's press conference.
You think you're uninspired. Imagine the guys within those 4 walls.
He believes that he still is comfortable with those 3 plays that he called on 1st and 20, 2nd and 16, and 3rd and 20. That's terrible. I don't blame A.J. Brown for just storming off. All right, well, I have to give out the AAA triple game balls after that loss to the Cardinals. I'll give one to a member of the Eagles, even though he still plays for the defense, and the defense was terrible. But I'll give one to Sidney Brown. That was the only time I was happy. That entire game. I was happy one time that entire game, and it was the pick 6 by Sidney Brown. Not that he or the rest of the defense was tremendous the rest of the game, but that was the only reason why you were winning at one point. So Sidney Brown gets a game ball.
Oh, Julio?
I'll give Julio Jones one. And I'll give you a 3rd game ball. Anyone who actually had the 2 touchdown prop bet for Julio Jones, there were some people that tweeted at me their ticket. So your 3 game balls, Sidney Brown for the pick 6, Julio Jones for the 2 touchdown receptions, and any sicko who actually had the Julio Jones 2-touchdown prop bet. Those are your 3 game balls. One of the game balls isn't even a player. AAA is the good kind of safety for Eagles fans. With AAA Eagles MVP membership, you get all the amazing benefits and services you expect from AAA, plus rewards created specifically for Eagles fans, like the chance to win Eagles tickets to every home game, pregame field passes, exclusive access to Eagles events and experiences, and so much more. Plus, AAA Eagles MVP members receive 15% off at the Eagles Pro Shop and an exclusive AAA Eagles MVP membership card. If you're already a AAA member, don't worry. Converting your membership is free, and it's easy. Just visit AAA.com for all the details. Right now, new AAA Eagles MVP members that join the flock will also receive a $20 gift card to the Eagles Online Pro Shop. Go to AAA.com/Eagles for details and become an MVP today.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Happy New Year. Everybody lost. I'm Ray Dunn. This update is brought to you by Bradford White Water Heaters. Man, when you need a new water heater, choose one that is built to be the best. Choose Bradford White. The Eagles collapsed against the Cardinals. Birds squandered a 15-point halftime lead, surrendered 29 second-half points in a 35-31 loss to the Cardinals on Sunday. Cardinals ran for 221 yards, gained 449 yards of offense, held the ball for nearly 40 minutes of game time. Eagles became the first team in NFL history to start 10-1 and lose 4 of their next 5 games. Now they sit in 5th place in the NFC, and Dallas can win the NFC East with a win on Sunday against the Commanders. Jeff McClain joined the show earlier to describe what was a disaster of December and talk about this Eagles team. You can catch that conversation one more time at 97.5thefanatic.com. 76ers also lost over the weekend. They can't figure out how to beat the Bulls of all teams. They fell on Saturday night 105-92. Since the start of December, the Sixers have lost just 4 games. 2 of them have been to the Bulls. And oh, by the way, the Sixers host the Bulls tonight at 7. Catch the live call right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. The Flyers fell to the Flames 4-3 on Sunday night, their 4th loss in 5 games. The road trip ends for them in Edmonton tonight against the Oilers at 9 o'clock. Catch that game on WMMR. This update's also brought to you by AAA Car Care. Save $120 on select sets of 4 Cooper tires now through January 16th only at AAA Car Care Centers. Detail at AAA.com/mycar. Keep it locked here for all the latest news and information. I'm Ray Dunn on 97.5 The Fanatic.
The Philadelphia 76ers play here. Every game home and away. We'll have the play-by-play tonight. Presented by Corona, official partner of the 76ers, the Phila Cerveza. This is the exclusive home for Sixers basketball. 97.5 The Fanatic.
Hey, it's Jen Scordo. The NFL regular season is wrapping up, but there's still time to get in on all the action with FanDuel in partnership with Valley Forge, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $150 in bonus bets, win or lose for $5. The app is so easy to use, and there are so many different ways to bet, like live same-game parlays, or you can find bets in the new Explore tab. Try to make a parlay in the Parlay Hub, the best way to find popular parlays, and so much more. Pick your favorite team to win on the spread. Pick a wide receiver to go over on receiving yards, on your favorite tight end to score first, and maybe a quarterback to score an anytime touchdown. It can all happen in that Parlay Hub. So visit FanDuel.com/Scordo. That's FanDuel.com/Scordo and make your first bet a touchdown. FanDuel, the official partner of the NFL.
21 plus and present PA. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Hey, it's John Kincaid, host of The John Kincaid Show and 3-time cancer survivor. I want to thank all of you who have joined me in supporting life-saving cancer research by donating at aacr.org/fanatic. And to our generous corporate partners, thank you for stepping up and supporting the AACR, the official charity of The John Kincaid Show.
Building managers trust Pumpman Philly to keep their wastewater pump systems ready for everything from pump clogs and failures to flooding from major storms. When your building's pumps go down, count on Pumpman Philly for pump troubleshooting, emergency repairs, maintenance, and replacement. Visit pumpmanphilly.com. For the hottest new and used cars in the Delaware Valley, visit David Auto Group in Glen Mills, PA. David has always been your dealer. You just didn't know it.
Donations to the American Association for Cancer Research from our listeners and corporate partners add up to big breakthroughs that benefit cancer patients worldwide. Why don't you join me and make a life-saving donation today at aacr.org/fanatic.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Go to hims.com/joy. Through HIMS, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, and the process is 100% online. To start your free online visit, go to hims.com/joy. That's HIMS.com/JOY.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
If you're looking to move out of your parents' place, you could really cut expenses by bundling your car and renter's insurance with Progressive, which is good because your little brother has gotten really territorial. You're blood related. You'd think it would be fine to share food in the fridge. I mean, who writes their name on every individually wrapped slice of cheese, Tyler? Still, you've got to admire the commitment. So bundle your renter's and car insurance with Progressive and use the savings to help you move out and have all the cheese you want. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company. Coverage provided and serviced by affiliates and third-party insurers. Not available in all states.
Paid for by Wesley Financial.